아스몬 그 친구는 뭘 해도 그냥 많이 보는 친구고. 얘는 와우지 와우. 와우를 가장 많이 보고. 오씨, 말 타고 있는 애 어떻게 잡으라는 거지? 너무 잡기 빡센데? 나는 무슨 스트리머야? 아... 부정 먹으러 가자. 아, 길 딸리는디? 하석?
Tread carefully, my friend.
씨발. 좀 먹어야 되는데. 죽었나? 건툴렛 열어달라고 하는데 요새는 일반 유저들도 건툴렛 많이 해요? 거의 안 하던데 건툴렛. 나 POE 할 때는 거의 안 했어. 마블 히어로즈가 뭔지 모릅니다. 이해해줘야지 어떡해. GGG 무적의 방패가 있어. 중소기업 방패. 아야 밀린다. 4분 남았다. 이제 기다리면 되겠다. 중소기업이라는 무적의 방패가 있어서 어쩔 수가 없어. 이해해줘야 돼요.
Yeah, you won't run out anytime soon in that situation.
I think so. Well, I hope so.
Any, we're almost to wrap up time and moving over to the main stage, but any final thoughts that you guys want to throw in? Anything you hope to see or anything like that? We've got 2 minutes, Noogie.
You turn to me.
Yeah,
Final
okay.
thoughts. I just want to see passion.
Yeah.
I just want to see passion and just people just giving us everything they've been building. It's predictions. I really at this point I just don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
right.
an MTX. I would like to see a toucan. You know?
A toucan?
Yeah, that would be nice.
What about you, Maple?
I will just love to see a nervous Chris Wilson up on stage.
Yes.
Like for as much nerves as I'm having right now, like doing this sort of thing and waiting for the reveal, it pales in comparison to getting on stage and revealing everything for the past few years and just seeing someone so excited about their game.
Yeah, I know they're all like super excited, but also super nervous. I saw a lot of them before, and yeah, you can feel that excitement. Rise, any closing thoughts, mate, before we sprint over so we get our seats?
Yeah, absolutely, Dad. I mean, everybody from the GGG side has felt really, really excited. We were trying to get them drunk at some of the parties. They weren't having it. They're well trained.
Ah, no spoilers.
Yeah, really, they weren't giving us anything.
No, that's good. They were more so than last time, even. Also,
Yeah.
I've got to remind you folks, if you're watching live on Twitch, don't forget to connect your Twitch and Path of Exile account so you can get drops access to. Was there like a cool hideout or something like that, or do we only get that? I don't know if I'm teasing.
There were
people.
some really nice wings and
Yeah.
a portal.
Yeah, great.
I think so. But yeah, they look really good, those drops.
Excellent. Yeah, so make sure you hit that up. We're just about to go over to the live stage, and I can't wait to see what we're going to see from Path of Exile 2 and Path of Exile 1. It's been very exciting. Thanks for hanging out with us for the stall cast. I'm Ziggy D with Mathel, Rise, and
큐티가
Yugi.
어디 살더라?
We'll
저
sprint
유럽
back
쪽에 사는
over
것 같은데
here
큐티는.
just after the keynote is finished. There is not much time left, so see you fine folks over there in just a moment. Thank you very much.
D4 bad.
아씨. 분위기 왜 이렇게 엄숙하냐? GD가 다른 거 뭐 하는 나는 저기 POE밖에 몰라. 다른 것도 뭐 진행하는 게 있어? 포엠이 뭐냐? 뭔지 몰라. 아니 POE나 POE 모바일이나 같은 거잖아. 뭘 POE 말고 다른 거 하는 거 없냐고 물어보니까 POE 모바일을 얘기하고 있어. 저번에 코스프레 같은 거 졸라 웃기긴 했었는데 카카오 유튜브 가면은 한글로 동시 통역 해준대. 그거 같이 봐도 되냐고 도망해도 되냐고 혜미님이 물어봤대는데 도망하면 안 된다.
Hey guys, how's it going? Perry in here. And welcome to 엑자일콘!
하스하는 아저씨네.
Thank you all so much for joining us here in New Zealand. It's quite a journey. Thank you guys for joining us online. It's going to be a fantastic show.
저번 엑자일콘 때 얘가
So, you guys
POE2
wanna
시연했었는데
learn about
개 못해가지고
what's coming up?
개빡쳤어요 그때.
Oh, you do? Yeah, me too. Yeah. Well, before we get to the people that are best to deliver that information, before we get into Path of Exile's wonderful future, let's take a moment to go over all the wonderful things we have already experienced in Path of Exile. Let's take a moment to check out Path of Exile from the past.
POE의 역사.
Life is fleeting.
A worthy opponent. Go with God. Death to sin. The touch of God.
발전 개 많이 했다고 하는데 사실 저 때나 지금이나 크게 바뀐 거 없죠.
Why are you so in love with death? The weary traveler draws close to the end of the path.
Let me tell you if you can.
Gaze into the abyss. action have you done?
카카오 엑자일콘은 저기 다음 팟이 아니라 유튜브로 가시면 돼요. 유튜브. 아 진짜 핑크들 좀만 검색해봐도 나오는 걸 여기서 알려달라고 계속 막 동시통역 어디 가서 봐요. 다음 판 가야 되나요? 막 하면서.
My cause fuels me.
Do you remember dying here? You will.
POE 공문만 가도 씨발 링크 있겠다. 아 전설.
It's branching exile.
아 존망. 존망.
Still sane, exile.
갓. 갓갓.
To the grove exile. A
좆.
harvest awaits. This one should be
갓.
rather
이건 갓이라고 봐야 되나? 나름 갓이었어.
Does the
갓, 갓.
wish to play with me?
Your path to greatness has taken a hard turn toward a cliff.
이때 나 뒤지고 금방 쌌던 걸로 기억하는데.
Detonation's incoming!
There's no time. I've become too weak to sustain the blood crucible.
Your sullen defiance ends here.
각과 조수를 넘나드는
Another mortal wanders into my prison. You cannot escape Baydad's gaze!
One of many.
빠와 까를 미치게 하는 게임. 저번 엑자일콘 때 보여준 거잖아. poe2가 많이 달라질 거라고 생각하지 마세요. 2.0이야 2.0. poe 2.0. 오버워치의 영향을 받았는지 엄청 막 달라지진 않을 거야. 2.0 poe 2.0이라 생각하시면 됩니다. 빠카.
Hi, I'm Chris
아, 나
Wilson
축구의 저
from
자세가
Video Games.
이 자세 너무 좋아. 약간 서가지고 약간
Welcome to
비슷해가지고
ExileCon 2023. It feels like just
어정쩡하게
yesterday that I
서
was
있는
here on
약간.
stage at ExileCon 2019 announcing Path of Exile 2. Since then, we have worked tirelessly on the content we're going to show you this weekend. To everyone here in person, thank you so much for coming out to join us. It honestly feels so good to know that people love Path of Exile so much that they fly across the world to come and celebrate it with us in person here. I really hope you have a great trip and make the most of your time in New Zealand. Our last ExileCon was a magical experience, and we've tried to go above and beyond in every way this time. If you're tuning in online to watch the live stream, thanks for joining us also. I wish you could all be with us here, but to ensure you have the full ExileCon experience, we have made sure to include every talk and session as part of the 2-day live stream this weekend. Twitch drops are enabled for the live stream, but if you're here in the audience, you'll automatically get them when you redeem the microtransaction code in your swag bag, so no need to stream it from your phones while you're watching. You'll also receive the attendee-only ExileCon 2023 hideout. We have so much to share with you this weekend, and let's just get right into Path of Exile 2. I'd like to introduce Jonathan Rogers and Mark Roberts, game directors of Path of Exile 2.
Hey guys. While Chris has been running Path of Exile 1, Mark and I and over 100 other
또
developers
나오네.
have been hard at work on poe2. And honestly, the project has become much
약간
bigger than
그
we
판타지에
expected
나오는
when we announced
난쟁이
it in
막 그런 것처럼
2019.
생기지 않았냐?
It's been almost 4 years since then, and so it's about time we showed you what we've been working on. Oh, hang on.
약간 노음 드워프 막 그런
Okay.
느낌.
Sorry, I forgot. Okay. When we announced Path of Exile 2 at 엑자일콘 2019, we told you guys that we were releasing it as an expansion to poe1 and that both campaigns would be playable in the same game client with a shared end game. But poe2's scope has continued to grow and grow.
클래식
It's far more than just
RPG스러운
an
네모.
expansion with a new campaign. It has entirely new monsters, skills, mechanics, classes, everything you'd expect from the next generation of action RPGs. Not to mention revamps of most of the poe1 League content. This thing is just freaking huge. There was a point where we
라리안
realized that our
게임
plan to replace
저쪽에서 많이
poe1
본
with
것 같아.
poe2 would essentially be getting rid of a game that people love for no real reason. So we made a decision. Path of Exile 1 and 2 will be separate with their own mechanics, balance, endgames, and leagues. But it's still a shared platform. Your microtransactions are available across both games. Everything you have ever purchased or will ever purchase in the future will be usable in both games unless it's hyper-specific to the content of one of them. You can't transform into a bear in poe1, so a reskin of your bear form isn't going to work. But you absolutely can equip the awesome armor set that you got and use all your stash tabs. So with that in mind, we'd love to show you a live demo of some of the stuff we've been working on. poe2 has come a long way.
poe2는 정말 어썸할 거야.
Hopefully it doesn't
뭐
die.
대충 이런 얘기를
It
하고
is a live
있습니다.
gameplay demo after all. All right.
The gods caused all this, you know. After Oriath was destroyed, I traveled, searching for answers. Everywhere I went, the same divine devastation. It must end. I will end it. And no exile will stop me.
위치, 레인저, 듀얼리스트, 섀도우, 템플러, 워라우터, 워리어, 헌트리스? 오. 소서리스. 오? 몽크? 드로이드? 오! 야, 너무 많은 거 아니야? 저렇게 한 다음에 전지까지 따로 있다고? 오, 생각보다 엄청 많은데? 갓! 보스가 100마리라고? 아씨, 패시브 노드 1500개라고? 와, 36개 전직이면은 미쳤다.
This world will be reborn.
전직 36개라고?
No matter the cost.
야, 빨리 찬양해. 갓! 그래서 언제 나오는 거죠? 출시가 언제죠? 그래서? 그래서 언제야? 날짜를 알려줘.
All right, Mark. Your turn now. Welcome to Path of Exile 2. We'd like to start off by showing you some of the gameplay of Act 3,
유튜브 가서 1080으로
of the
보자.
6 acts in poe2's campaign. We're starting here in the jungle depths. Act 3 is set in the ruins of the Vaal civilization, which fell thousands of years ago. Jungle is... All right, Mark. Your turn now.
유튜브가 좀 더 느리네.
Welcome to Path of Exile 2. We'd like to start off by showing you some of the gameplay
그럼
of
뭐해,
Act 3,
70인데
one of the 6 acts in PoE2's
1080로 보는
campaign.
사람들이 있어요.
We're starting here in the jungle depths. Act 3 is set in the ruins of the Vaal civilization, which fell thousands of years ago. Jungle has taken over their former once great cities, and we'll be exploring it using one of the 6 new character classes called the Monk. In PoE 1, we had one character class
PoE1이랑
for each
다를
of
게 없어
domination,
보인다.
strength, dexterity, and intelligence. When looking at the design of PoE 2, though, we realized that many of the new skills that we were trying to design just didn't really fit thematically with the existing classes that we have. Being a spellcaster with a bear form makes sense for strength int, but it just doesn't really sound like something a Templar would do.
그래픽은 뭐
We realized
솔직히
that
근데 그래픽은 별로 안
for
중요해요.
every attribute combination, it actually made sense to design a new character class to explore the new
해적
theme.
게임에서
In
그래픽은
PoE
사치야
2, every
사치.
attribute combination has 2 classes associated with it. Strength int
맥만 안
has the
걸리면
Templar
돼.
or the Druid. On dexterity, you have the Ranger or the more spear-focused Huntress. And on dex int, you have the Shadow and the Monk, which Mark is playing here. Each class has its own 3 ascendancies that let you further specialize the class in a way that only that class has access to. But they both start at the same location on the passive tree. The quest rewards you are offered on the 2 variants are tailored to the class. But of course, this is PoE. You can still mix and match anything to your heart's content.
파워 차지는 뭘로 들어오는 거야? 되게 쪼렙 같은데 파워 차지가 들어오네? 일단 저는 저건 안 할 것
Looks like
같아요.
we've come across the boss for this area.
너무 느릿느릿해
In
보여.
PoE 2, every area of the campaign contains a boss of at least this difficulty. That's over 100 bosses to fight as you make your way through the campaign, and they all have unique mechanics.
아니 구르기 넣어놓은 거 졸라 웃기네. 요새 뭐 세계적인 추세냐? 구르기 넣는 게?
As you've been watching from Mark fighting here, you've probably noticed that melee combat in PoE 2 is a very different feel than before. We've done a lot of things to add mobility to combat. Practically every melee skill in PoE 2 has some kind of movement built into it. But the Monk in particular is a melee fighter who specializes in mobility over brute strength.
아씨 이딴 걸 시연이라고 지금. 왜 구르고 있어 지금 계속.
So, as Mark has been playing, you might have noticed these blue markers over enemies.
참
Mark
보여달라고?
has a skill equipped called
알았어,
Killing
꺼질게.
Palm. Whenever an enemy has a blue indicator over it, it means that the
미안하다,
monster has
잘해줘.
low enough life to cull with Killing Palm. Successfully executing the cull will give you a power charge. This is an important skill for the monk, since many of his skills interact with power charges. One of the great things about this skill is that it has a built-in dash forward, which makes it much easier to target the skill right at the point where you need it. We've done a huge amount of work in PoE 2 to make using skills like this feel satisfying.
골드가 생긴다고?
Accidentally targeting slightly off the monster, the skill will automatically lock on to the cullable target, and it will even do a small amount of pathfinding around obstacles. We really want to make sure that when you've got an opportunity to use the skill, nothing is going to get in your way. Once you have some power charges, you're going to need some skills to power up. A great follow-up is Falling Thunder. Falling Thunder without a power charge just creates a relatively small lightning AoE in front of you. But if you do it with power charges, it turns into a pack clearer with a large number of extra projectiles. One thing to notice here is that, like almost every melee skill in PoE 2, Falling Thunder has a little bit of extra movement built in, just in case you need
아
it.
골드 생기는
Use
거는
the
좀
skill within range
의외다.
and you just do the flip in place. You use it at a larger range and your character will move forward while executing it, getting you into position without any time penalty. In PoE 2, you also get a short period to redirect your target. Notice how you can start the skill facing one way, then whip the mouse sideways to land the skill in a different direction? Now, in order to get power charges, you're going to first need to get some lower life monsters into a cullable range. You've got a few options if you want to charge right in. Whirling Assault is great. It doesn't do much damage per hit, but it covers a lot of ground. And notice how you can turn as you do it? Generally speaking, you never lose control of your character in PoE 2. If you make a turn at the right time, you can get a couple of extra hits on the monsters, getting them in range of your cull. Follow up with a Killing Palm, and then finish off the rest of the pack with your Falling Thunder. We've
로딩
now
화면
entered the Vaal
진짜 똑같아.
Mechanarium. This is the place where the Vaal built the various constructs that they relied on to power their civilization.
Now this is a find. A Baal ruin that
야,
hasn't
알바는
been
왜 아직도
looted?
살아있냐?
I wonder why nobody's been in here before.
One useful feature we've added is the ability to call in NPCs to where you are to give you more information or help you with quest objectives, rather than always having to go back to town. In this case, we've called in Alva.
아, 카카오에 동시 통역해주는 거 보지 말래, 그거.
Mechanism. If
보면 안
powered with a
된대.
small soul core, it could open that door. There should definitely be soul cores somewhere around here. They had to power these constructs somehow.
직접
As
가격으로
Alva
가서
just
봐.
said, we need to find a small soul core to open this door. Let's explore.
아, 음모 지민정님 6개월 구독
If
감사합니다.
you want to shave off some life without getting too close to some of the more dangerous monsters, a great option is Wind Blast. Wind Blast also doesn't do too much damage, but it keeps enemies back. The closer they are, the farther they're pushed back. So it's
아니,
a great
솔직히
option
그게
to keep
말이
the
뭐가
smaller,
필요해? 말
but
필요
higher
없어.
damage enemies at bay. Note that the bigger the enemy is, the less they'll be pushed back. So trying to push back some
말
giants
하나도
isn't
필요
going to be as
없어.
effective.
영문판 때도 했어, 이거.
And there's the soul core. Let's get back to the door.
아, 던전 왜 그지 같지, 갑자기? 저런 거 주워서 또 어디다 박을 거 생각하니까. 아! 머리! 아.
Consider me impressed. I'll keep investigating in here. Bring me in if you find anything else.
Now, if you need to defeat tougher enemies, it might be time to break out some of the ice skills.
빨간색으로 이제 길 저거 알려주나
Glacial
보다.
Cascade creates a wave of ice that moves slowly in front of the player. It's pretty ineffective against
이거
fast
나오면
moving
디아프
monsters,
바로
because most of the
유기한다고요?
damage occurs right at the end of the wave.
퍽이나.
So a lot of monsters will just walk right by it. But if you can find a way to make a monster stop at just the right place, it can be very effective. In order to do that, you're probably going to want to freeze some monsters. The monk has a few different tools to do this. A fairly simple option is to get right in the monster's face with Ice Strike. Ice Strike doesn't do too much damage at the first two
스킬에
hits,
쿨타임
but
없는 거
attacks 3
시연이라서
times in
그런 거야,
sequence, and you
이거.
can get off a combo that has a much higher
풀어놨을
chance to
거야.
freeze. Get in there with the freeze.
스킬에 쿨이 없다는 게 말이 안
and
돼.
Finish the job with Glacial Cascade. Now, remember how Glacial Cascade is that extra damaging spike at the end? If you hit a frozen enemy with that spike, it shatters the ice on the enemy and does a devastating amount of damage. This is a really great combo against bosses, as you'll see later. Oh yeah, and I've just been casually mentioning rolling around. Did I forget to mention that in poe2 we added a dodge roll to every character? Just press spacebar at any time to roll. There's no cooldown and no limitations. And it even has pathfinding in it. so you
나도
don't get
몽크
stuck
보기
on
싫어.
anything. When you When you dodge roll, you're not invulnerable. If something hits you, you're going to feel it, but most things aren't going to hit you. And that's because while you're rolling, projectiles and melee strikes will always miss. You'll have to roll out of the way of a slam that has AoE, but anyone swinging a sword or throwing a fireball is going to miss. Now, another important function of dodge roll is it lets you cancel out of any skill at any time. This makes it so you don't feel like you're getting stuck during a long animation when something's about to hit you. It really changes how skills with longer attack and cast times play, and makes dodge roll a very reliable feeling way to avoid attacks. So, that's one way to get out of the way of damage, but the monk specializes in mobility, so it makes sense that he would have some more. Wave of Frost is one of our new attacks with a retreat built right in. You move backwards and throw out a cold attack with a significant freeze. A great thing about this is that it puts you at a good distance to follow up with a Glacial Cascade and do a whole
아,
pile
이거
of
빌드
damage.
누가 짰냐? 개답답해 보인다, 빌드. 결국 왼쪽에 상태 이상 디버프랑 이런 것도 POE랑 똑같네. 다른 거 보여줘요. 알았어.
Another skill you can use to get some extra freeze is Shattering Palm. Shattering Palm is a palm strike that puts a small ice bomb on the target. Kill or deal enough damage to the target and the bomb will explode, doing some damage and a significant freeze. It's a great option against bosses where the wave of ice might not be enough to get that freeze off. But you still really want to use Glacial Cascade to get the damage bonus. final skill we're going to show you today is Flicker Strike. It's a monk skill and another skill that consumes power charges. If you've played poe 1 before, you know what to expect.
왜 지금까지 저거 안
It's a great
쓴?
finisher for tough boss fights if you were able to get some power charges beforehand.
디아프만큼 막 흥이 안 난다고? 근데 딱 예상했던 것만큼 더 바라지도 않아요. 뭐 화려한 시네마틱 이딴 거 필요 없어. poe는 그런 거 없어요. 여기 얘들은 중소기업이잖아.
Here we have Blackjaw, former overseer of the Mechanarium. When the Val fell, he was turned to stone and now guards the area. In order to take down this boss, we're going to need all the
아
tools.
씨발 언제 때려잡아 저걸로.
freeze and
스킬 다른 거 좀 써봐. 링크 연결하는 거 있을 거 아니야. 시연
You can't
말고.
rely on freeze because there's so many bosses that are immune to it. But in poe 2, that's changing significantly. In poe 1, freeze is a binary mechanic. An attack freezes the target or it doesn't. What this
요즘
basically
라이브로
means is
시연하고
that
있는 거
we're
라이브로.
forced to add freeze immunity to many bosses because freeze just trivialized them. Because of that, freezing was something you could only really rely on while pack clearing, and not something you could use as a core part of your build for boss fighting. In poe 2, though, all crowd control mechanics now have internal meters that allow you to build up to a freeze or stun, or whatever other CC mechanic that you're using. It's a little bit like poise from games like Elden Ring, though the meters tend to be a lot
영링크인지 아닌지 몰라 우리는. 아직 템을 안 보여줬는데 어떻게 하냐? 노링크인지.
Another freeze, but the increased difficulty bleeds away slowly. More freeze will always let you freeze the boss more often, but this system means that you will not get out. It will not get out of control in party play or interact badly with other CC
아
mechanics.
엑자일콘 제가 만약 갔으면은 난입해가지고 끄집어낸 다음에 바로 링크 연결해가지고 때려잡았을 듯. 의문의 고수 난입이라고? poe 하는 사람들 중에 지입으로 고수라고 하는 놈들은 거의 90% 확률로 사기꾼 놈들입니다. 명심하세요. 오, 저 아프다. 이딴 게 시연? 체크 포인트로 돌아갑니다. 일부러 한번 죽어준 거지, 바보들아. 속는 거 봐.
Alright, so this might be a good time to mention.
일부러 한번 죽어준 거지.
If you die to the boss, you have to start again.
이제 딱 링크 연결해 놓은 거 쓱 꺼내가 이제 그걸로 패겠지?
So hang on. Oh, there might be a. Are you okay? Oh, 1 second. One technical issue.
화면 가렸어. 지금 장비 바꿈.
Alright, we good? Back to the stream. Alright. Alright.
Round 2.
Let's go.
Whoever balanced that, like, come on.
보스방 위치 바뀌었다? 아 똑같아. 왜 이렇게 시원하지? 나 잠깐 불안한데? 우리도 이렇게 게임하라고 하는 건가 설마? 아 장난하지 마. 왜 이렇게 진지하게 클로즈업까지 하면서 보여줘? 아까보다 잘 다는 것 같은데 체력은? 방금 한 대 맞고 당황한 것 같은데? 무빙이 한 대 맞고 좀 당황한 것 같은데?
Come on, get the freeze. Oh.
아, 디아포보다 템포 더 느린 것 같다. 시연이니까가 아니라
Okay, okay. Do the. Yep.
좀
Nice.
보여줄 수도 있을 텐데 다른 거를.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Give me a freeze. Come on.
스킬을 안 쓰고 있어. 왜?
Oh, hey.
뭐 가족들이 인질로 잡혀 있나? 왜 평타만 치는 거지? 이유가 뭐야 대체?
Freeze, freeze, freeze. Oh, oh no! Oh shit!
죽을 뻔했어.
Oh, oh. Oh, oh. Come on, come on. No. Get it. Yeah, so good. There you go, there you go.
After this, after this, after this.
No, 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 no. Get him. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. All right. Second time's the charm. So, Blackjaw has dropped a consumable quest item here called the Flame Core. It's a permanent +10 to Spirit. And poe2, we really want to make sure that you feel rewarded for exploration. It wouldn't be much good if we made all these awesome optional bosses if we didn't have something great to find for killing them. One of the things you might find for killing a boss is permanent stat bonuses for your character.
I wonder what Spirit does.
All right, now because this random area is different, Mark will have to find his way to the exit the hard way.
This is, because I died, this is
Yep.
no longer rehearsed at all.
소신 발언해도 되냐? 좀 답답하네요 많이. 포e2도 디아골 나는 거 아니야? 존내 루즈예요. 이 템포면은 기존에 poe 하던 애들 못해. 뭐지 시연이니까 좀 느릿느릿한 걸 수도 있는데 만약에 그냥 액트 미는 거라고 쳐도 느려. 초반이라고 해도.
Just gonna go around this way.
Need to use those killing palms more often, Mark.
그러니까 지금 회피라는 걸 왜 만들었는지 모르겠어. 저거를. 아니 구르기가 왜 필요한 거야? 디아포도 그렇고 poe도 그렇고 대체.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
My poor heart.
Lightning strike. Oh.
콘솔 사용자를 배려하는데 구르기 쓰면 뭐가 좋은데? 무적이야? 구르기 동안?
Alright, yeah, there we go. Alright, here we are. Here's the X.
무적도 아닌데 구르기 왜 필요해?
I'm gonna die to these sentinels somehow.
Alright, let's go right through. Alright. Alright. In order to help with the next area, we're going to call in a sorceress. I'd like to welcome Octavian to the stage, who's going to join the party with Mark, so they can play through together.
어?
Alright, 1 second. Alright. Here we go. Alright. The sorceress is the new and
그래.
focused character in poe2.
보여줘 소서.
Which focuses more on occult magic and summoning, the sorceress is themed around pure elemental destruction. Let's have a look at how she plays.
해리케인 2점.
This is the largest soul core I've ever seen. With this, we could power the canal system.
지금 캐리해주러 왔잖아. 버스 태워주러 왔어.
It isn't charged. There is still latent energy in this machinarium from its ancient operation. These lines in the stonework should lead to generators. You might need to find some more soul cores to spin them up, but everything looks to be in surprisingly decent condition. Maybe the golems have been maintaining it. In any case,
아이
it should
넘겨
still
좀 저런 것
We'll
좀.
have to remove that large core from
스킵
the
좀
wall.
눌러줘 좀. 아 왜 이렇게?
Problem?
알겠어요. 좋은 스토리 갓 스토리겠죠. poe2 알겠으니까 좀 스킵 좀
They feel a
해봐.
bit different now. Spark is great in these tight passages since it bounces around. We've added a Pierce support gem to really allow it to hit an entire room full of targets. For a more single target focused skill, Arc is a great choice. It does much more damage than the first target that you hit. Now, if you find yourself surrounded, it might be a good idea to use Ice Nova. It hits all enemies around you and slows them down with a chill. Just be careful. Getting up close and personal isn't the ideal place for a sorceress to be. She doesn't have the defenses of a more melee-oriented character. In order to help with that, though, you could use Arctic Armor. In poe2, Arctic Armor is a buff that builds up as you stand still. You can see the ice crystals forming around the character. They drop off if you walk. When monsters hit you, they take cold damage and build up to a freeze. So it's a great defense.
아 씨발 왜 불안하지?
You have to be standing still for a little
야
while.
나만 불안하냐?
So trying to stutter step using it.
아 솔직히 불안한 사람 개춤. 야 나만 손 들어봐 불안한 사람. 나 지금 불안해 약간.
Didn't reserve any mana. How does that work? Well, we were pretty sick of the fact that in poe1 basically every character was playing with no mana pool. So we decided to change the way that reservation works. In poe2 there's a new resource called Spirit. Spirit is a dedicated resource that you can use for ongoing effects like Arctic Armor, Heralds, Auras, and Minions. Everyone starts with 100 Spirit, which is enough for most ongoing effects. But if you want more, you're going to need to get some more Spirit, which is available on mods from items and on the passive tree. But if you're willing to give up your offhand slot, the easiest way to get it is by holding a Scepter. Find out more about that in the items talk later on. Now, if you want to increase the cold damage that you're dealing, you can always use Frost Bomb. It places a bomb on the ground that reduces enemies' cold resistance.
조금 이따 시연 지자라니 한다고 했었나? 지자라니 하는 걸 봐야 돼.
Opportunity to use some cold skills before it explodes.
이거는 이제 그냥 딱 소개해 주는 거고.
And speaking of cold skills, a great skill to use on monsters with lower cold resistance is Comet.
내용인가요?
This is a new skill in poe2 and it hits pretty damn hard. Costs a lot
놀랍게도
of mana and has a really
직업이
long cast time, but it's worth
소서리스가
the wait.
있습니다.
It does a devastating amount of damage. To help you out of danger, your character moves back slightly as it casts. It's pretty hard to hit fast-moving opponents, but it's great on tougher enemies that stand still, or even a larger pack if you're further away and can predict where they're going to move. Now, if you run out of mana casting too many of
위치랑
those,
소서리스랑 분리했어.
so you could use your free to cast
부르기
fireball.
후딜 읽는
So
것
where did that come
같은데
from, you ask?
부르면
Well,
손해 안
this is a great opportunity to explain the way that we've changed caster weapons in poe2.
그 구르기 장점을 모르겠어.
caster weapons had a default melee attack that nobody used. And because they had that,
드디어 인벤토리를
they also had a bunch of
보여주는구나.
attack. poe2 we wanted to clean that up.
몇 링크였어
Each
대체?
staff now comes
아!
with a built-in free to cast spell. Just put it on and spam away to your heart's content. Now this particular staff is the base type that you'll get right on the starting beach, so it's quite likely that you'll have outgrown it by now.
뭔가 안심이
So
되는데.
that's why we've also made a lot of staves with more utility-focused powers for casters to use. Here we have a crystal staff. It has a pretty cool built-in spell called Unleash. Using it slams your staff on the ground and will allow you to
Unleash를 왜?
cast whatever you cast with your next spell. Now, of course, what you're probably going to want to use with that is something powerful, and Comet is a great option. You'll notice that Unleash is one of the few skills in poe2 with a cooldown. In general, we really try to avoid using cooldowns because we really hate the feeling that combat is just waiting to cast your next spell. But it does make sense for Unleash since it's free
아니
to cast
보여줘
and
아까
something
방금
we
쓴
want you
거.
to use situationally.
왜 그거 안 쓰는데?
Now,
아니 시간이 시전 시간이 졸라 길다 저거. 방금 모은 다음에 쓰는 거 봤냐?
This creates a circle of power which your character literally hovers over the ground. While in the circle, your mana drains, but it powers up all your spells. Lightning projectiles will fork, beams will chain further, and you also do a lot more damage.
No mana.
그래 COC로 연결해서 쓰는 거
So, with
말고는
all
답
of these
없어
skills,
보인다.
here's a great combo to try. First, cast Frost Bomb to reduce the target's cold resistance. Then use Mana Tempest to increase your damage. Follow up with Unleash, and then triple cast Comet to do a truly insane amount of damage.
몽커 지금 딜 안 하고 있어요. 뒤에서 구경만 하고 있어.
Where those ghosts come from?
These ghosts.
This
Whose
rare
fault is that?
This rare monster has dropped an uncut gem, and that's a great opportunity to talk about how skill gems drop in poe2. Instead of dropping specific gems, you can find uncut
언컨
gems.
스킬 잼?
Just right-click on them and pick whatever skill you want.
이가공 스킬 잼인가봐.
Whoops.
와 이게 뭐야?
The gem will come pre-leveled to the level of the area that dropped it, so it's a lot easier to change between skills in poe2. This time, I think it might be cool to grab one of our meta gems. Meta gems are skills that can have other skills socketed into them, changing how they work. In this case, we're going to select Cast on Shock.
잠깐만 그러면은 소속과는 소서만 쓸 수 있는 건가?
Screen and choose which spell to trigger with it. I think Comet might be fun. Now, because Cast on Shock reserves Spirit, we'll need to first disable our Arctic Armor. We have to decide if we'd rather have the extra defense or the extra offense of the Cast on Shock using our Spark. In poe2, trigger gems use a system of filling up cast time on each trigger. Basically, if a skill has a short cast time, it will trigger really often. And if it has a long cast time, like this Comet here, it will take a lot longer to trigger. You can see on the top
감전 시전이면 보자 어떻게 나가는지.
how long until the next trigger.
감전 되고 있는데 뭐 안 나가는데?
Hopefully he shocks the monsters. There we go.
나간다.
And there you have it. That's using Cast on Shock. We've automatically
발동 근데 너무 구린 것 같다.
skills. So, we found the generator. Time to power it up.
넣을게.
As power is restored to the Mechanarium, all the constructs are coming back to life. We'll need to fight them on the way back to the charged Soul Core. So, one thing that poe1 players might have noticed is this character has both lightning spells and cold spells. That's pretty inefficient, right? It's a big no-no for most builds because any specialization into cold or lightning isn't going to affect the other element. And generic elemental damage increases are not going to be as powerful as focusing on a single element. Well, in poe2 we have another major new system to introduce to solve these kinds of problems. And it starts, oddly enough, with weapon swap. Now, in poe1, weapon swap isn't really used much for its originally intended purpose. We imagine that people were going to be swapping in and out between different weapons to deal with whatever situation they were in. People just don't do that at all. And a large reason for that is because it's really, really awkward. In poe2, we wanted to solve all of that. The staff Octavian is using here has an ice mod on it that makes it great for when he's using his ice spells. But we would also like to be able to make sure that this build works just as well for his lightning spells. If Octavian equips his previous staff in his second weapon set, you can see that it appears on the character's back. Now, we're going to open up the skill screen. If Octavian opens the skill options for his lightning skills, you can see here that you can choose which weapon sets are usable with each skill. First, we uncheck set 1 from being used by his lightning skills. Then we go through the cold skills and turn those off with his lightning weapon. Just take a second.
If I can remember where they all are.
Yeah. Now, when we use Spark, the character
GPS랑 저거
will switch to the
알려줘도
lightning staff on his back.
그냥
and then
대충
use the skill.
참고만
When
하시고
Octavian uses
믿지는
his ice
마세요.
nova, his character automatically switches to his ice staff before using it.
원래 전통적인 해골물 게임입니다.
You can configure each skill for which set to use, or both if you don't mind which. There's a very short time penalty to switching, so it can be good to leave some skills on both sets if it doesn't matter which weapon set you're using. But we still have a problem, passives. Wouldn't it be nice if we could specialize in both cold and lightning passives on the character? Well, in poe2 you can. Hopefully Mark can deal with those monsters while we do this demo. So, we're on the passive skill screen here, and you can see that we are close to both a cold and a lightning cluster. At the top right of the screen, you can see that we have some weapon set specific points to allocate. If Octavian holds shift, he can allocate set 1 to the cold passives, and then allocate set 2 to the lightning passives. Now,
따로따로 연결한다고?
check it out. As we use our weapon swap, the skills allocate changes from one build to the other automatically.
이거 힘들어할 텐데.
So whenever we
유비들은.
cast the appropriate spell, the character's passives reconfigure on the fly to the correct build for that spell. Now you can't do this with every single passive on your tree. Only points granted from skill books will allow this kind of dual specialization. So you're not going to be changing from a mace slamming warrior into a fire elementalist with the press of a button. But it certainly increases the number of options you have for builds. There's a huge number of places where the system can shine. You can augment your dagger shadow build with traps.
대중성을 갖다 버렸냐가 아니라 어쩔 수가 없어. POE는 올 매니아 게임이고 라이트해지면은 더 안 좋아.
This works a little bit like the trigger gems I talked about before.
여기는 원래 대중성 없었어.
Energy shield is hit by monsters. We're going to put an ice nova in this one. The more energy shield you lose, the more charge builds up. We'll just get that one equipped there. Yep.
뭐야?
So
오라
the
같은
more
거
energy
킨 거 아니냐
shield you
방금?
lose, the more charge will build up until the point you're able to cast the socketed skill instantly. There we go. So you lose some, so you lose some energy shield, and at just the right time, invoke Ice Nova to cast all the stacked up copies. And
만화 점유가 없으면은
if you keep losing shield, you'll build up even more charge for even more casts. So it's a great defensive option in an emergency.
Overkill.
And here we are back at the charged soul core. All we have to do now is take it.
Just take it.
오.
Alva, what the? Don't die this time, guys.
오.
Frozen? Nice. Wait. Frozen though. Good.
Frozen, nice.
Helps that we're both doing ice damage. Cold damage.
몹 디자인은 참 신기하게 잘 만들어. 기괴하게.
Wearing heavy stuff. He's heavy stuff. Okay. Nice. Frozen. Frozen again.
Getting real lucky with those freeze procs this time.
All skill. Nice. Frozen. Good job, get away. Get away from him, get away, get away. Triangle. Oh.
엄살 부리지만 안 아프면서 방금 전기 맞았는데 피 별로 안 나네.
Nice.
아픈 척 하고 있어.
So that's Path of Exile 2. These areas, as well as around half of each of the first 4 acts, are available to play at the 3 demo zones around 엑자일콘. Now, if you're physically here at this event and you get to play the demo, just remember, it's a different game than before. It's a lot harder. You're probably going to run the first pack of monsters and just die. I really recommend you read the signs. They have good advice on how to combine your skills effectively, and remember,
저거
dodge rolls on
페란두스 코인
spacebar.
느낌인데
Use it.
모르겠어. 페란두스 코인이면 골드라고 이름을 굳이 바꿀 필요가 있었나?
So your next question is likely to be, when is the beta? Well, we're in our last year of development, but we're still finishing acts, adding skills, and balancing everything. The closed beta is going to start on June 7th, 2024. Path of Exile 2 has been a long time coming, and we're incredibly excited to be near the finish line, but we're just not quite there yet. We're determined not to rush this and make sure we get everything right. In the meantime, there's a lot in store for poe1. I'll hand back over to Chris, and he's going to talk about what's coming up. Thank you very much.
근데 준비해서 나오는 게 맞아. 디아4가 주는 교훈은
So that demo
배우
was
만들어진
very
다음에
hard
나와야
for them
돼.
to do in person. Like, I am very impressed it went that well. So, as Jonathan explained, Path of Exile 1 will continue to be its own unique
너무
game once
길다,
Path of
근데.
Exile 2 comes out. We will continue to update it with expansions and leagues going forward. And because accounts and microtransactions are shared between the 2 games, and their expansion releases are offset from each other, it's super easy to jump between them and effectively play both if you want. So I'm going off script for a second here and just going to explain this a bit better. Imagine we release a Path of Exile 2 expansion, right? So everyone dives in and plays it. You give it, say, out of the 13-week cycle, you're going to play for, some hardcore players play for the first few weeks, some people play for most of the time. We're going to aim a Path of Exile 1 expansion to come out towards the end of that cycle, say 4 or 5 weeks from the end, which also lasts for 3 months. So because Path of Exile 2 has more content and is a significantly larger game, it will mean that you can play Path of Exile 2 for the majority of the cycle, and then either keep playing if you want to keep playing Path of Exile 2, or jump into Path of Exile 1 when its league launches and enjoy that, either for the entire period or until the next Path of Exile 2 one comes out. And of course, because your purchases are shared, if you were to buy supporter packs or microtransactions in either, they're just available on your characters in the other. Speaking of Path of Exile 1 expansions, we've got one coming out in just 3 weeks, on August 18th. Let's watch the trailer for Path of Exile, Trial of the Ancestors.
Souls such as yours do not go quietly into the night. They thirst for battle. They yearn to prove themselves. Welcome to the Halls of the Dead. place among us. Under Hinicora's watchful eye, test your mettle against the greatest
뭐야, 이게?
warriors who ever lived.
뭐가 저거 진짜 PVP 같은 투정 같은 느낌이냐?
In the trial of the ancestor.
거북이. 아 씨발 뭔데 이게? 매칭 시키는 건 뭐야? 오토체스 같은 느낌인데? 약간 그런 느낌 아니었니? 오토체스 같은 느낌?
In the end, only one can become champion. Will it be you?
In the Kurui afterlife, the fallen chieftains of each tribe participate in a tournament called the Trial of the Ancestors. You will journey to the afterlife, assemble your own team, and enter the tournament to battle those chieftains and earn valuable rewards. As you play through areas in the Ancestor Challenge League, you'll find tradable silver coins. Using them will take you to the Kurui afterlife, where you will encounter Navali, who you may remember from the Prophecy League. Each coin allows you to play a match of the tournament. You start the tournament with a basic team consisting of 3 warriors. The tournament is double elimination, meaning you're allowed to have 1 loss without consequence. A second loss eliminates you from the
일단 오른쪽에 보상이
Your
있고
team will compete against 10 other tribes, and you choose who you're going to challenge next out of the teams left in the tournament. When you start a match, you see the configuration of the enemy team and get to place your team of warriors on the battlefield to challenge theirs. You and your party of exiles will play alongside your warriors. So while this league
배치한
does
다음에
have many
나도
elements of
같이
an
저걸 해야
auto-battler,
되는구나.
you're right there fighting alongside
같이 싸워야 돼, 같이.
During a match, when a warrior dies, they respawn at their totem after a short time. If their totem is destroyed, then they are instantly killed and can't respawn. The team that destroys all of the opposing totems wins. If you're playing a hardcore character though, don't worry. Hinokora, the goddess of death, is watching over you and will restore your soul to your body, so you can't permanently
물약 좀
die in the
먹어주면 안 되나?
afterlife.
죽었는데?
Like that. In the Trial of the Ancestors, strategy and tactics are key. Every unit
역경
has its own
시즌이
strengths and
우리에게
weaknesses
줬던
that must be
교훈은
utilized to win matches.
결국 유저들 발목을 잡고 시간을 끄는 컨텐츠를 별로 안 좋아한다는 거야. 보상이 졸라 좋아야 돼 진짜.
To tank hits for you if you're pushing through the middle. It's not great in the center or flank positions due to its slow movement speed. The Tuatara is a quick and deceptive unit, which is relatively well balanced for all positions. This version of the Tuatara has a stealth ability, which makes it perfect for the flanking position to sneak through enemy defenses and take out unprotected totems from the side. The Goliath of Night is a disruptor unit, and it's ideally placed in the center position to intercept enemies that are chasing you. You can also allocate it to defenses so that it disrupts enemies that are trying to kill your totems by stunning them. So in this match here, we've set up a Tuatara in a flanking position, a turtle on defense to guard our totems, and a Goliath to follow us as we attack up the middle. Our plan is to work with the Goliath to distract the enemy front line so the flanking Tuatara can get through and destroy some of their totems.
poe2 나오기 바로 전 시즌만 하면 돼.
Teamwork.
내년
Upon
7월에
winning a match,
베타.
you earn favor and other rewards. I'll talk about the other rewards shortly. There are a lot. You have a separate amount of favor with each tribe, and you can spend it by talking to their chieftain to recruit warriors and purchase field items and equipment that your team can use. Each tribe has specific specialities. For example, Hinokora's tribe manipulates life and death. Rongo Kurai's tribe is slow and tanky, with an emphasis on stuns and knockbacks. You can recruit warriors from many different tribes and mix and match them together.
내년에 베타
what you need.
일단 찔러는 봐야지.
Field items are items that are placed on the battlefield and can be activated during the match too.
근데 모르겠다.
For
클로즈
example,
베타라 가지고.
revive a warrior or heal your entire team. If a field item isn't consumed within a match, it persists on to the next match. But your warriors, their equipment, and your field items all wipe between tournaments. You enter each tournament fresh. Your success in the
반반으로
tournament
갈렸어요.
updates your
poe2
overall
자체는
ranking, which helps you
영상
advance your
자체는 되게
rewards for subsequent
좋았는데
ones. Speaking of rewards,
출시일이
let's
조금
discuss
많이
the good
늦습니다.
part, what you can earn for succeeding
25년,
at the trial of the
2025년에 나올 것
This gets
같아요.
me excited. Okay. You get a reward as you win each round of the tournament, and these rewards are visible when you're selecting which tribe you want to play against. They'll help inform your decision, as some of them are regular rewards and some of them are exclusive new rewards you can only get from the Trial of the Ancestors. I'm literally tripping over my words to get to the part where I can explain tattoos. Okay. The Ancestors reward you with special tattoos that are not applied to your skin, but they're engraved on your soul. This process can transform all your attribute skills.
근데 자신 없으면은 더 확실하게 만들어서 내는 게 맞아. 억지로 출시할 필요가 없어. 굳이 빨리. 아니 뭐 주가 조작 뭐 그런 걸로 그런 거 할 것도 아니고 어디 다른 데다 회사 팔아먹을 것도 아니고 굳이 급하게 할 필요가 뭐가 있어. 자기들 살 깎아먹는 건데.
This one converts a small intelligence skill into additional
못하러
lightning
조기
damage.
출시해.
And this one converts a small strength skill into one that summons a minion when you take a savage hit from a unique enemy. But don't go overboard on the number of skills you convert with tattoos, as you'll probably need at least some of your attributes left to equip items. Each of the 10 tribes has an exclusive unique item that you can earn. These rarely show up as rewards for defeating that tribe in a match. Kataba's Hunger is a unique majestic plate that you can earn by defeating the Kataba tribe. As you can see, it grants an immense amount of life for a single item, providing you don't have any life on any other pieces of your equipment. While this is tricky to accomplish, it also frees up all those other potential life slots to be something else that benefits your build, making it pure upside. This amulet is a unique item you can earn by defeating the Arohongui tribe. It has the powerful effect of causing your flasks to instantly recover life and mana whenever you're low. This could potentially be a powerful panic button, or maybe you want to build around permanently being on low life or mana, so all of your flask usage is instant. If you manage to win the entire tournament, you'll not only receive the reward for the final match, but Hinokora will also give you a choice of 3 additional... button didn't work. Of 3 additional exclusive items. Let's have a look at some of the things you may be offered. First up, there are 4 unique items that exclusively come from Hinokora for completing the tournament. This belt, for example, lists a plethora of really powerful properties, both beneficial and detrimental. While you're wearing the belt, the property shifts around every 5 seconds. You never know what's going to happen next. Will you always crit, always evade, never evade? Maybe you're able to find some ways to build around the detrimental effects to create as much upside as possible. Hinokora also has a selection of special, more advanced passive tree tattoos that you can only receive from her. This one transforms a 30 intelligence notable attribute skill into one that increases the level of all of your intelligence gems. You're only allowed 1 copy of the specific attribute combination tattoo on a tree. Hinokora can also award you with a new type of item called an omen. These are small items that sit in your inventory until a condition is met, at which point they are consumed and something happens. In this case, when you reach 25% life, your flasks are all replenished. Now don't worry, each player can only consume 1 omen per combat area, so you don't have any reason to fill your entire inventory with them. This one creates a portal on death. We made it for me. It won't try to save your life, but it will save you some time. This one grants you Soul Eater when you level up. It's definitely worth carrying around for that occasional massive power boost. Omens are tradable but hard to get, so use them carefully. I shudder to think about how much this one is going to be worth in the presence of those incredibly rare unique weapons from 320. Now note, going off script again here, back in the day, when we had stuff like the Prophecy and so on that let you upgrade to rare forcibly on a specific base type, we had to block the good items by putting crap uniques on the, sorry, I meant upgrade to unique. We put crap uniques on that base type so that you couldn't get it every time. Well, we stopped doing that, so a lot of the uniques that were upgraded in 320 are just the only thing on the base type. So items like this let you deterministically get something quite valuable, hence they are quite rare. The most exciting one, though. Finally, Hinakura can offer you a lock of her hair. This is a very special currency item that lets you foresee the result of using another currency item to craft something. This means, for example, you can know whether it's worth exalting your item because you'll know exactly what the outcome is. Hinakura's lock will slot into your crafting pipeline with powerful consequences. The Trial of the Ancestors offers a wide selection of valuable new rewards as you complete matches and tournaments. We really look forward to seeing what strategies you develop for building, equipping, carefully placing, and playing alongside your tribe. So that's the new Challenge League, but Path of Exile expansions contain more than just a new league every 3 months. In each update, we also augment Path of Exile's endgame and shift the metagame with new gems and balance changes. This expansion is no exception. I'm going to explain the other changes in a medium amount of detail. I'm conscious that we have both new and existing players. For new players, I'm going to try to include some extra content to help make the changes more understandable. You can find out all the detail in the patch notes and other information we'll be posting in the few weeks before release. Let's start with how the Trial of the Ancestors expansion expands Path of Exile's endgame. In December last year, we released an expansion called The Forbidden Sanctum, which introduced the Sanctum Challenge League. This league was a roguelike game set within Path of Exile where you would randomly explore a randomly generated sanctum one room at a time, alongside your regular play. You'd pick which rooms you wanted to explore out of several options and accumulate beneficial boons and detrimental afflictions that made your run easier and harder, respectively. Not only did Sanctum work really well as a league, but it also had the potential to be added to Path of Exile as part of its core endgame content, alongside systems like mapping, delve, and heist. Well, in this expansion, the Forbidden Sanctum is back. I've really been looking forward to this one. We're reintroducing the Sanctum as core content in Path of Exile's endgame. You'll initially meet Divinia, the Sanctum NPC, in Act 10. Sanctums are now tradable items that you can find while playing maps in the endgame. A forbidden tome represents a whole floor of the Sanctum, and its rooms can be played back to back, or you can take breaks between them and do something else if you choose. Upon successfully completing that Sanctum floor, the next floor is generated as a tradable item with all of the state of your Sanctum run built in. This means that the item stores what boons and afflictions you had, what rewards you've locked in, and how much resolve you have left. You can then either play this floor or trade it to someone else if it feels more beneficial. For example, let's say you manage to lock in a really valuable reward. The example here is a Mirror of Calandra, but you'll also notice that, do I have a laser pointer? It doesn't work on the board. Okay, 1 resolve. This is an example here where the player has a very good reward locked in, but a massive pile of dangerous afflictions and only 1 resolve on them. If you don't feel capable of completing the rest of the Sanctum from this point, then it would normally be a write-off, right? If you gave this to me, no way am I getting that mirror. But you can now trade the Sanctum state to someone else who is willing to pay for the chance to earn the mirror, or lose it. And you can look at expected value in economics, right? It's worth some percentage of that mirror, so you trade it for like 5 chaos to someone, they run it and lose their chaos. Your relics, which act as passive bonuses within the Sanctum, are locked in for the run when you start the first floor and can't be changed for the rest of the run. Speaking of relics, they're now tradable and have been rebalanced around this. To those of you wondering, we have decided against bringing back sanctified relics for now. A complete Sanctum run now requires killing the final boss, Lycia, in both her first and second form. She will always drop a unique relic, and these have been reworked and replaced as we rebalanced everything. An important aspect of the new Sanctum balance is that your primary defenses now have some effect on protecting your resolve. Your armor allows you to mitigate resolve loss, and your evasion grants you a chance to avoid resolve loss entirely, a lot like how armor and evasion work. Your Energy Shield grants you Resolve Aegis, which is a mechanic that works similarly to how Energy Shield behaves for life. In light of the new defensive opportunities and learnings from the original Challenge League, we've rebalanced the difficulty of Sanctum, especially in later floors, and have worked to add more monster and room variety to runs. We've added new boons and afflictions themed around the new defensive mechanics and have rebalanced many of the other ones. Like other optional endgame systems that involve tradable items, players who don't want to play Sanctum can trade their Sanctums to other players in exchange for an item or currency that benefits them more. Successful Sanctum play can generate a lot of rewards. It'll potentially be possible to build characters dedicated to Sanctum running and just farm Sanctums repeatedly in order to profit. Sanctum isn't the only improvement that Trial of the Ancestors brings to Path of Exile's endgame. We're
다음
also
주에 재밌어
introducing
보이냐?
16 new Atlas Keystone
나는
passives for the
관심이
Atlas
없어서
passive
모르겠다.
tree. As a quick summary for new players joining us, the Atlas tree is a system that allows you to customize your endgame experience in Path of Exile. As you complete different maps, you gain skill points that can be allocated in the tree. You could use these points to modify the behavior of different content you encounter in in-game maps to make it more difficult or more rewarding, or to behave entirely differently. The system allows you to double down on the content you enjoy and avoid content you don't. Keystones are really impactful passives that totally change how endgame systems behave. Usually they have an element of give and take and require you to come up with new strategies.
결국 이번 리그 컨텐츠보다 저번 리그 컨텐츠 때문에 한다는 거네.
Keystones changes how you might interact with Path of Exile's endgame. Let's have a look at some of them now. We will reveal the rest of them before the release of Trial of the Ancestors in a few weeks. Extreme Archaeology completely changes how you play expedition encounters. Instead of placing a series of regular explosives, you now place one gigantic explosive.
그러면 됐지 뭐.
Every single chest or monster in the blast radius is affected by every remnant in that radius. Speaker of the Dead makes it so that tormented spirits can possess you rather than possessing monsters, boosting your stats instead. While possessed, you can touch monsters just like a spirit can, making them stronger and more rewarding. It's kind of getting silly at this point, isn't it?
아유!
Blight is like a tower defense
아유,
minigame
감사합니다,
inside Path of
김준빈님.
Exile.
오,
The Cassius
감사합니다.
Pride
아유,
Keystone makes it so that
감사해요.
blight monsters take significantly less damage from players and significantly
저
more
수리름
damage
아닌가?
from blight towers. This basically lets you go all
근데
in
나 아까
playing like
우유에
an actual tower defense game. Because we can.
프로토스 그거 말아 먹었어.
Lucid Dreams makes it so that Val's side areas in your maps are no longer corrupted, meaning that you can use
조금 더
currency items
버텼다가
to change their
점심 먹을
mods.
때 쓰겠습니다.
That's right. When you encounter a Val side area, the keystone lets you craft it.
우와!
Yeah, so we rebalanced the side area mods, we've improved reward outcomes,
신기하다,
and we've
저거는.
made the downside mods a bit more punishing, you know, just to make it interesting if you try to go for the good outcomes. You may also rarely encounter a unique Val side area. Destructive play makes it so that the Maven will
감사하는 게 아니라 아이고!
random map bosses when you are fighting witness map bosses.
아유,
This
감사합니다.
keystone is
김준빈님
analogous to the Eldritch
고맙습니다.
Altar keystones that make those
맛있는 거
influences
사먹을게요.
more difficult
감사합니다.
but more rewarding. There are another 11 new keystones that we'll reveal over the next few weeks. Together, these 16 keystones mean that regardless of how you enjoy your maps, you'll have plenty of new ways to play Path of Exile's endgame in this expansion.
아우, 노드
And I
봐도
should
모르겠다.
note, in the initial draft
내가
of the
POE 할
keynote,
때랑
I
너무
painstakingly
다른데?
went through every
패시브
single
노드가?
keystone. It took like 10 minutes. But we'll put them in the news to save you some time here.
몇
In the Trial of
패시브야,
the
그거는?
Ancestors expansion, we're shifting Path of Exile's
다른 거야,
metagame
다른
in
거?
several ways.
오우.
The first is by introducing 14 new support gems, which are designed to take existing categories of skills and provide entirely new ways to play them. For full information, check the final gem hovers when we post them in the next few weeks. Let's have a look at a handful of these support gems now. In Path of Exile, war cries usually buff your party but don't directly hurt monsters. The Corrupting Cry support gem turns war cries into damage-dealing skills by making them inflict corrupted blood on monsters affected by the war cry or by your attacks that it exerts.
야, 워크라이 쓰는데 왜 몹들이 녹음?
The Returning Projectiles support gem causes projectiles from supported skills to return to you,
이거 벽에
piercing
튕김!
all targets but dealing a little less damage. I think there's another example too. The Fresh Meat support gem causes minions created by supported gems to gain adrenaline, critical strike chance, and critical strike damage for a duration after they're first summoned. So you've got to work out a way to keep refreshing your minions, and it makes them a lot more powerful. The Flamewood support gem causes totems to trigger projectile mortars at enemies that hit them. This is
토템으로
particularly synergistic
막아가지고
with totems that can taunt enemies, such as Decoy Totem, or one of the new chieftain
토템이 함성 쓰고
skills that I
있어.
might talk about shortly.
아까 함성 쓰던 걸 토템에다 넣은 것 같은데?
Spells that you either cast yourself or through totems. These spells now sacrifice a percentage of your current life or the totem's life to gain additional chaos damage based on how much life was sacrificed. The
폭발을 왜 보여주는 거야? 뭐야 이거는 고무줄놀이.
And causes a cold mist to come over them. Enemies caught
아,
in
좀
the
이런
beam
병신
are
스킬 좀
chilled and
만들지
deal more
마.
damage over
제발.
time.
누가 해
This
이거를.
creates a new tool for a cold damage over time build requiring strategic placement of both yourself and your linked ally. I mentioned it was going to get silly. The Locust Mine support gem looks OP and affects attack skills that use bows and wands. Instead of directly using the skill, you throw mines in an arc that use that skill for you, targeting your location when you detonate them. In addition to these gems, there are another 7 that we'll be revealing over the next few weeks.
저런 거 PoE 스트리머들 가서 미션 걸어. 2인 1조로 해가지고 고무줄로 X 다밀기 이런 거.
These are the subclasses
그런 거
that you
미션
can
걸면
specialize in as you
재밌겠다.
play through Path of Exile's campaign. Each main character class has 3 ascendancy classes available. In the last expansion, Crucible, we overhaul the Pathfinder and Saboteur. This time, it's the Guardian and Chieftain, which are specializations of the Templar and Marauders, respectively. While we were very happy with the theme of the Guardian, it was falling behind the power level and popularity of other ascendancy classes. Our changes in this expansion have
2024년까지
modernized the
묵혔다 여기서
class
미션
and will
걸 거예요.
present you with more relevant build
거절합니다.
opportunities than before. Brace yourself. Okay. Path of Exile 102. Harmony of Purpose can power up parties using link skills. Time of Need now completely
요새 별로 안
cleanses and
좋은가
heals
보네?
you every 4 seconds. Radiant and Unwavering Crusade both fully embrace the Holy Summoner theme by giving you access to some exciting new types of minions that are exclusive to this Ascendancy class. We have this picture on the announcement page, pathofexile.com/ancestor for you to scrutinize.
내가 딱 PoE 접기 직전까지 그 가디언 영광의
was
시대였는데
similar to that of the Pathfinder. The Chieftain has received the Saboteur treatment. To be honest, we were unhappy about many aspects of this Ascendancy class in its old form, and so we have completely redesigned it. You can play it now. It's basically an entirely new Ascendancy class with the same name and art and a new way of approaching its themes. Its new skills let you, among other things, cause enemies to explode, turn off enemies' fire resistance while you're stationary, convert passive skills to apply to fire damage, and have your fire resistances applied to your cold and lightning resistances. I'll just give you a sec more to read.
냉기장,
All right, that's on the site too for you to check
따라가는
out.
거
It's pretty powerful now. To celebrate the
아
release
이거
of the
빨리
Trial of
넘기지
the
말아봐.
Ancestors, we'll be hosting a boss kill
보려고
event.
하는데.
To enter, create a hardcore solo self-found character in the Ancestor League and race to kill all 7 Uber Pinnacle bosses on the same character. Note that unlike the last event we ran, this one is not a ruthless event. We'll post more information about the event and its prizes in the news before release. Best of luck to everyone. For the Ancestor Challenge League, we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs, the Shade and Disciple packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value and points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. These packs are only available for the duration of the Ancestor League and will leave the store forever when it ends. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect the character's power or progression in any way, despite how cool they look. The Shade series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
호구들 돈 뜯을 생각이 신나는 게 아니라 PoE는 무료 게임이야. 게임 계속 재밌게 즐기고 할 거면은 이거 서버비 내야 돼. 서포터 팩이라도 사가지고 저걸 사줘야지 개발을 하고 게임을 계속 즐기지.
These chains are just cosmetic though, and they break as soon as you move. It would supposedly be a gameplay advantage to be able to imprison people. The Ferryman's armor set is so full of trapped souls that some of them try to escape. Moving while wearing the boots will leave souls in your wake trying to break free. The infernal portal opens a gate to the netherrealm when you approach. This prompted a lot of internal discussion about whether using hellfire to heat your hideout is actually safe and practical. The demon-bound crafting bench allows you to enslave a malevolent entity to craft items for you. Be warned, it has a
첫날이나 이제 좀
sharp
대기열
tongue and will
걸리고
mock
이
you
정도지.
mercilessly.
You chained me for such a paltry use.
The Nebula character effect causes items you pick up to orbit you in an ethereal cloud of loot. The Disciple series of supporter packs also contain 6 exclusive microtransactions. Look at dog. I'm going to put that in the top pack. The Hero's Landing Finisher effect summons a marble statue from the heavens to execute unique monsters you defeat. You decide whether it's the sword or the huge lump of rock that actually kills them. The Bell Tower map device heralds the opening of a new map with a peal of bells. Start to run out of portals though, and it will reflect your desperate situation. This is fine. The Cathedral armor set refracts light through your character, creating beautiful patterns on the ground around it. If your life gets low, it responds in kind. The Observer Diamond Flask summons a tentacled mass that fires its eye lasers at enemies you critically strike while the flask is active. Again, cosmetic.
뚜껑 머리에서 레이저 나가는 건
The
뭐야?
currency orb charge effect lets you pick from a number of different currency types to replace your charges with, as long as you've used that currency item anytime from today onwards. Some people, we have to store it in the database, right? Some people will show they can be part of the exclusive club of players who have actually used a Mirror of Calandra.
다이아몬드
This
플라스틱
effect
저런
also
기능이
causes
있어요?
your charges to display in town. So the theory is you go use your standard mirror, which we all have, right? The Faithful Hound Pet is a very good doggo, and it knows a few tricks. You can command it to sit, roll over, or play dead.
아유.
And yes, you can pet the
야,
dog.
누가 저 카오스라도 하나 던져줘라. 오, 쓰다듬어 주는 거 있어.
These new packs are available right now at pathofexile.com/purchase, and purchases like these directly fund the ongoing development of Path of Exile 1 and 2. Meanwhile, the Lithmancer and Enchanter packs leave the store forever at the launch of Trial of the Ancestors, so now's your last chance to purchase them. There's some good stuff in those too. Thanks for your continued support. The fun part. For the last 엑자일콘, we developed a special card game that encapsulated the full gameplay out of Path of Exile over the course of the event. Players could defeat monsters, progressively upgrade their items, use currency items to craft their equipment, find and run maps, and eventually defeat pinnacle bosses to earn rewards. It was a whole lot of fun, and we've had so many requests to run it again. So this year, we're proud to bring you the 2023 version of the 엑자일콘 card game.
아, 저거 좋아하는 사람 되게 좋아해? 뭐 어떤 식으로 하는 거야, 저거는?
In your swag bags, you'll have found a box of 엑자일콘 cards, and then a gentleman outside will have asked to purchase them from you for real money.
하스랑 비슷하다고?
If you have any cards left, you can use these to challenge GGG staff members who are walking around 엑자일콘 as monsters. They'll be wearing t-shirts showing the monster's stats, which include symbols for their attack and defense. Using the cards in your deck box and those you accumulate by defeating monsters, put together one set of armor, one weapon and shield, or a two-handed weapon, and an amulet and 2 rings.
아, 저기 축제 안에서 즐길 거리를 만들어준 거구나. 아, 나 또 저거 개발한다고 하길래 그런 건 줄 알았어. 아니, poe2도 2025년인데 뭐 저딴 걸 개발하고 있으면 어떻게 생각하고 있었지.
So to attack a monster, politely approach a staff member wearing the shirt, introduce yourself, and show them the set of equipment you want to use. If your symbols match, then you'll have defeated them, and they'll give you a reward and remove some of the durability from your items. They do this by clicking the card, so if you want to keep the card pristine, don't necessarily attack someone with it. It will get damaged in combat. Be careful not to waste your best items on low-level monsters. You're not allowed to attack the same monster twice in a row, so you need to explore 엑자일콘 to find different GGG staff members. You can get maps by defeating monsters marked as gods.
poe2는 좀 이따 시연 영상 따로 있어.
To the map device to run them and progress through the tiers. On the back of the box is a list of quests. As you complete quests, you can visit the crafting bench on the top floor to receive rewards for completing those quests. While you're there, you can also use your currency items to modify your equipment. I mentioned that this year's version of the card game introduced a challenge league. That league is Delve. Accumulate sulfite and bring it to the Delve wall, sorry for the bad photo, it's hard with lighting, on the middle floor. Each sulfite card you hand in allows you to explore one tile of the Azurite mine. You'll all be working collaboratively throughout the event to delve deep into the mine, fight the monsters that lurk there, and uncover its treasures. And I feel really bad for the poor people that had to hang 3,000 cards on that wall. You may eventually be able to challenge the pinnacle bosses if you manage to get really far in the card game. I'm the Searing Exarch, Jonathan is the Eater of Worlds, and Mark is the Maven. Defeating any of the three of us will reward you with a Mirror of Calandra enamel pin. This pin is exclusively available for winning the card game and won't be sold in the merchandise shop. Each person can only receive a maximum of 2 mirrors, and when they run out, we can't give any more out, so try to win the game early. The reason for 2 is a very typical Path of Exile reason, 1 for you and 1 to trade. All right, it's almost time to go and experience ExileCon 2023. Aside from the card game, we've prepared a full weekend of activities for you. There's a busy roster of talks and interviews on the main stage and the streamer stage. We've posted a schedule at pathofexile.com/ExileCon, so you can see what is happening when and where. The schedule also includes information on meet and greet sessions. Our special guests this year include a roster of many of your favorite streamers, but also some game development industry friends we've met over the last 16 years. We're proud to once again welcome the creators of the Diablo
비밀번호
series,
풀면
David
되는 거
Braddock,
아니냐?
Matt
왜
Schaefer,
저거
and Eric
비밀번호를
Schaefer,
걸어놓지?
as well as Travis Baldry, who you
누가
may know from
훔쳤으나?
Fate, Torchlight, and his popular fantasy books, or even the books he's narrated. They'll not only have meet and greet sessions, but are also participating in an action RPG roundtable discussion alongside me and Eric tomorrow on the stage. In all of the developer talks and panels, ExileCon attendees will be able to scan a QR code on their phone to submit questions for the speakers to discuss in the panel or on the Q&A section of the talk. The Path of Exile 2 ExileCon demo is a large one, and you may want to play it multiple times this weekend. In each session, you can pick from one of 4 character classes, which start at various points throughout the first 4 acts of Path of Exile 2's campaign. Around half of each act is included in the demo, and your session time is limited to 45 minutes before you have to let someone else have a turn. Remember, as Jonathan said earlier, this demo is hard. Read the signs that explain how your skills combine together. Dodge roll is your new friend. You should also swing by the Path of Exile mobile demo at the chill out area on the top floor and check out its progress. It's coming along really well, and we'd love to get your feedback on it. We've created heaps of new Path of Exile merchandise, which is available at our merchandise shop on the middle floor. We've made 17 new t-shirts, which include a few from our community t-shirt design competition. We've created a range of 24 enamel pins. You'll have found a random one in your swag bag. If you approach me and I'm wearing a pin, feel free to swap for the one you've got if you'd like. Happy to trade.
저게 뭐였지 이름이? 도리아니
You can purchase
피스트였나?
the others in the shop. As mentioned before, there's also the super exclusive
도리아니
Mirror of
피스트지.
Calandra pin that is only available to winners of the card game. Maybe you're able to trade for a full set. There are 2 new posters. One is the Atlas passive tree, and the other is the periodic table of currency.
뭐야 저건?
In addition to reprinting the incredibly popular Celestial Cat socks, we've also introduced the Chaos Orb socks, better for business meetings.
카오스 양말, 양양이
There's
양말.
also a range of 4 desk pads to keep your play area tidy. You can check them out at the demo zone. We have a limited range of ExileCon 2019 merchandise available in the store as well. Make sure to hit it up early if you want some of this, because stocks of the older items are quite limited. We have plenty of new merchandise for everyone though, and I think I might have underestimated that. The ExileCon livestream concludes tomorrow with our grand racing finale, where 4 players compete for up to $10,000 and the title of ExileCon 2023 Racing Champion. Afterwards, we're hosting an after party at 8 p.m. at the venue. If you're watching from home, please note that because there are multiple things going on at the same time here, and we can only stream one of them live, we'll be re-streaming 3 of today's talks tomorrow.
야, 우리 조선 사람은 저거 레이스 참가하는 그런 인재가 없냐?
But you can't watch them at that time because we're streaming something else. So we're going to re-stream those tomorrow in the 3 hours where it's way too early to do it in New Zealand, but you can watch them online from the States and Europe. This makes sure that everyone is fully up to date on all of the talks that have been announced about Path of Exile 2 before the important Q&A in the morning where you get to ask the important questions. If you missed out on attending ExileCon this year, we'll be at Gamescom in Germany in August and PAX West in Seattle in September. At both shows, the Path of Exile 2 booth will have our ExileCon demo available to play and a small team of Grinding Games developers, including me and Jonathan, to chat to, and we hope to see you there. Thanks so much for joining us this weekend at ExileCon 2023. Have a great show, everyone.
그래서 이제 1시간 동안 뭐 하냐?
G'day Exile, welcome back to the second half, the post-stall cast for you. I'm Ziggy D, joined by once again by Mathel, Rise QT, and
한 시간 동안 할 게
Gonna
없는데.
have a bit of a chat about what we've seen so far, and there is a lot to go over. While we distract you while we wait for the next upcoming segment, which will be
나 술 안 먹어 이제.
interviewing Jonathan about
다음
Path of
주에
Exile
먹어야
2.
돼.
So until then, though, let's have a little bit of a chat about some of the things we've seen.
금주
Why don't we
기간이야.
kick things off with the separation of Path of Exile 1 and 2 into
9시
separate
반에
games,
또 다시
and
poe2
what
시간이
that
있어요.
means. What do you guys have any thoughts about that, Mathel?
Yeah, apparently they didn't own enough of my soul. So, like, instead of just, you know, playing as much as you want of Path of Exile League, a few weeks here or there, you know, maybe half of it, something like that, and then maybe do some other things. Instead, you're pretty much locked in a cycle of playing both versions now with new launches continuously, and I'm just going to be doing that basically for the rest of my life. So that's the big shock and twist for me. But other than that, Path of Exile 2 looked amazing, and yeah, nothing short of what I expect.
근데 poe2 발표는 놀라운 게 전지까지 다 하면 36개면은 말도 안 돼. 너무 많아. 아까 깜짝 놀랐어. 36개라는 거 보고. 디아포 발표 트레일러에서도 그랬어요. 100개의 던전. 만 가지가 넘는 다양한 빌드. 아, 근데 직업은 그거는 전 직원 속일래야 속일 수가 없는 거잖아. 오늘 알차네. 디아도 캠프파이어 때 좀 그래도 패치 긍정적인 패치를 한다고 하니까 패치 내용은 괜찮더라고. 원래 소서랑 바바 상향해준다고 했잖아요. 그거 이제 해준다고 하는데 그것도 패치 좀 늦긴 늦어. 8월 8일? 8월 9일? 요때 된다고 하더라고. 일반 사람들은 디아포 왜 이렇게 까냐고? 게임이 병신 같으니까 까는 거지 뭐 이유가 있어요? 이방 사람들이라고 하는지 모르겠는데. 오늘 게임이 병신인데 유저들끼리 싸우고 있으니까 그것도 이해 안 돼. 그냥 요새 싸우기 좋아하는 사람들이 너무 많아. (3.2 리그가 뭔가요? POE요? 아니. 내년 클베 직전이나 한번 좀 봅시다. 이번 리그 딱히 할 필요는 없을 것 같아. 진짜 정 할 거 없으면 그때나 한번 생각해보는 거지. 지금은 할 거 많아. 게임 앞으로 출시될 것도 많고. 지금 할 거 당장 랩넌트도 해야 되고 앞으로 게임도 쭉 계속 나오잖아. 싸우지 좀 마, 좀. 인터넷에 싸우고 이러는 거 못생긴 사람들이래. 못생긴 사람일수록 공격성이 높다. 너무 늦게 오셨어요. 9시 반에 다시 오세요. 9시 반에 오시면 다시 poe2 나옵니다.
그럼 센세는 공격력이 어느 정도인가요?
저는 공격력이 없습니다. 패치될 때까지 DR을 굳이 할 필요가 있나? 그리고 패치로 이제 해결되는 건 이제 클래스들끼리 불균형 이런 게 조금 해결되는 거지. 근본적인 문제들이 또 개선되는 건 아니라서 뭐 그런 거 패치한다고 각 게임이 되진 않아요. 그나마 지금보다 좀 더 나아진다는 거지. 좀 먹어야 되나? 소통하는 모습은 보기 좋지. 근데 그거를 잘 해놓고 성공한 상태에서 소통하는 거랑 좆박은 상태에서 소통하는 거랑 좀 느낌이 다르거든. 수습도 소통이죠. 뭐 어떻게 수습 안 할 거야? 수습해야지. 로드 퍼거슨 어디 갔는지 난 그게 제일 궁금해. 왜 모습을 안 드러낼까? 그렇게 나오기 좋아하고 모습 드러내길 좋아했었는데. 씨, 왜 이렇게 안 녹아? 죽겠는데? 버닝 에너미. 스펠캐스터 글러브. 뭔 말이야? 이동 중에 댐감? 불타는 적에게 피지컬 데미지 입히면
여러분들은 핵앤슬래시란 장르의 퇴보를 경험하는 시대를 살고 계십니다.
장르의 퇴보라고 봐야 되나? 그냥 디아블로의 문제가 핵앤슬스럽지 못하다는 게 문제 아닌가? 무한반복 파밍을 RPG에서 무한반복 파밍이 없는 거는 진짜 그런 스토리 있는 클래식 RPG 말고는 웬만하면 다 무한반복 파밍이지. 아니 단순히 그게 핵앤슬이라서 문제가 있다? 그건 아니라고 봐요. 150개의 던전이 필요하냐 이거야 과연. 솔직히 한 10개만 있어도 됐을 것 같은데. (8월 8일날) 패치되면 한번 해보세요. 저거 또 안쓰러운 빌드들 화염소서나 번개소서나 얘들도 상향한다고 하니까 좀 재밌어질 거야. 아까 얘기하기로는 2025년이라고 하는데 모르지 또 연기될 수도 있고. 애초에 poe2가 나온다고 한 게 몇 년 전이냐 벌써. 처음 트레일러 공개하고 한 게 한참 전이야 지금. 졸라 오래됐어. 그치. 근데 그걸 가지고 아무도 뭐라 안 그러지. 늦게 나와서 뭐 그지 같은 건 그지 같은 건데 확실하게 만들어서 내놓는 편이 더 낫다 이거야. 게임 개발이 너무 오래 길어지면은 막 최신 트렌드나 이런 거 못 따라가고 그래서 막 엎어버리는 경우도 많아. 너무 길어진다고 또 좋은 건 아니라고 봐요. 니들은 왜 길 안 들어가냐? 무궁화꽃이 피었습니다. 목불 너무 많아. 목불 너무 많아. 길 안 들어가는데 아예? 쟤네 뭐지? 하나 찍어야겠다. POE야 항상 시즌마다 갓과 조수를 넘나들었기 때문에 유저들이 익숙해. 시즌 재미없으면 그냥 건너뛰면 그만이야. 한 일주일 해보면 견적 나와. 그리고 디아코도 아마 똑같은 방식이 될 거예요. 이제 저기서 뭐 시즌을 하면서 엄청 재밌어지고 이럴 건덕지들은 많이 없긴 한데 그냥 어쨌든 성장 시킬 때는 재밌으니까 그때 이제 하다가 질린다 싶으면 다른 게임 하러 가면 되는 거고. 오씨 얼음 기둥. 오요요요요요요. 경험치 50% 획득. 50% 경험치? 당장 근데 내년 7월에 베타라고 하는데 시켜줄지 안 시켜줄지도 모르는 거고. 눈물 남아있어. poe가 그냥 한국에서 서비스만 할 뿐이지 저런 거 클베나 뭐 이벤트나 이런 거는 좀 약해. 뭐가 한국에서는 이득 보는 게 힘들어 방송하면서. 그래서 클베도 할 수 있을런지 모르겠다.
My hopes.
유튜브에서 공식 채널이 있었는데 거기서 많이 봤겠지. 아, 목걸이 넣어놔야 되는데. 아씨. 아케인 생초리도 아니고 밖에 저거 어떻게 먹으라고. 아 자석으로 당길 수 있겠구나. 큰일났다. 잘 안 죽는다. 디아포가 저거 만화 얘기하니까 만화 시스템 없는 게 왜 없앴을까 만화를. 왜지? 자기들 근본 메커니즘인데. 오, 쉣, 갈린다. 이거 뭐야? 포션은 어디서 쓰는 거야? 할비한테 갖다 주는 쾌템인가? 용은 뭐냐? 잠깐 위기. 저 용 대가리는 뭔데 계속 저거 날리는데? 당근. 빨리 보스를 잡아야 되는데 피가 너무 없다. 아. poe2 좀 이따 한대. 9시 반. 괜찮아. 목걸이 챙겼어. 어? 쉴드 메이든.
It is a great relief.
서비스 무슨
I can
서비스?
supply you with beverages and
사운드
potions.
뭐 갖다 주면은 틀리는가 본데? 그런데? 얘는 뭐하는 직업이냐? 아 근데 액트 3 너무 힘들어. 어? 구려 보이는데? 아니 평타 데미지는 세. 크리 뜨면 720 뜬다. 너무 근접 아닌가? 아, 얘 블록 올리면 딜이 늘어난다고? 왜? 블록 스트렝스에 영향을 받는구나. 베이스 디펜스는 아니잖아. 나중에 범위 찍으면은 다 호쾌하게 녹이겠지? 블록 스트렝스. 일단 빨리 부적이나 먹으러 가자. 저 꽃은 뭐야? 페리. 대신 이거 먹으면 몹들이 생겨나는구나. 오, 데미지 세졌어. poe2 저기 9시 반부터 다시 나옵니다. 30분 정도 남았어요. 보스들 세! 이 정도면 만족해. 보스가 너무 빨라. 제목도 잡으면서 해. 아 근데 말탄을 어떻게 잡지? 이거랑 이거랑 합시다. 에어리어 챙기는 게 맞는 것 같은데 투사체 쪽은 안 가는 게 맞아. 여기로 가자. 범위가 다 너무 개같이 짧다. 처음엔 딜 약한 줄 알았는데 세네요. 장갑이 그럼 이게 필요가 없는데 잘못 끼고 왔다. 나 이 방패 들고 있길래 막 해머딘 같은 건 줄 알았어. 엑자일콘 맨 앞줄입니까? 축하합니다. 어휴 축하한다. 사인도 받고 저녁에 소주 한잔 하자고 해. 몸도 단단한데? 투게더에 인증사진 올려줘. 재미난 거 있으면. 같이 보자고 좀. 말탄의 생각보다 체력은 좀 허약하더라. 오 샤파. 이속 껄끄럽긴 하다. 말타네. 드롭수 관련해서 잘 모르겠네요. 드롭수가 있었구나. 엑자일콘 드롭수가. 오 쉣! 한번 살려주는 거? 공속 20이 제일 무난한데 그게 수사체를 안 써가지고. 줄였다. 몰라, 물약 언제 쓰는지 써볼까? 어디서 쓰더라? 아까 오른쪽에 뭐 떴었던 것 같은데? 안 만들면 못 쓰는구나. 이쪽으로는 이제 가도 뭐 없는데? 데미지는 잘 뜬다 그래도. 피읍은 없고요. 용 붙어서 딱 맞들여야 될 것 같은데? 피어싱은 의미가 없지? 데미지, 밀리. 프리 데미지, 올. 용도 때려잡을 수 있을 것 같은데 이거면. 데미지가 엄청 세. 펜타움 애들이 별로인 게 지금 투사체 보너스나 이런 거 잡을 게 없어. 계속 피어싱을 뜨네. 문제의 녀석들. 그러니까 뱀서의 영향력이 얼마나 대단하냐. 솔직히 저 오오라 빛으로 오오라 데미지 주는 거 딱 보면은 마늘밖에 안 떠올라. 마늘이지. 마늘도 상시 적용 아니야. 틱댐이야. 틱틱 하고 들어가. 용 언제 뜨냐? 용 조지고 싶은데. (3,000) 남았네? (90년대에) POE 나온 건 몇 년이야? 아까 레인저로는 도망가면서 싸웠었는데 지금 어느 정도 맞추기 되는구나. 아, 강력도. 부추도 블락 스트렝스 있는 게 나아 보이는데? 방어력 많이 찍어서 그런지 생각보다 딜이 많이 안 들어오네. 아, 녹인다. 아, 근데 저 화염 너무 범위가 커가지고 시야를 너무 가려. 범위가 너무 커. 이건 긁히는지? 몇 프로야 크리 확률? 40%. 보이스는 보스라서 피 좀 채워놔야 되는데. 보스가 넉백이 되니까 아무것도 못하고 그냥 쭉 터지네. 시간 1분 남았다고? 아직 여유 있어요. 아, 리롤을 해주는 거구나. 뭔가 했네. 켜졌어? 안 켜지지 아직. 하긴 트위치가 더 빠르니까. 지자란이 감이 있으면은 몽크랑 소서리스 안 할 거야. 그래, 헌트리스 같은 거 아까 창 던지는 거 그거 졸라 재밌어 보이더만. 왔다.
I think we do Act 3. I really want to try Store.
뭐 골랐냐?
That's just in like all RPGs been a fan favorite of mine. Okay. I am gonna try to speedrun a little bit. A quick glance on all the items. Just because I have a feeling, well, I especially want to like look at things later, and I think a lot of people want to look at it. Gold can be spent on vendors. I feel like they didn't talk enough about gold. Oh, hello. I'm gonna see how much information we can get out of everything. Hopefully that's appreciated. Stash? This account doesn't know stash is available. All right. Cross the Sunswept March in the search of a cigarette. Okay. All right. Now, if I die, it's because I'm not used to the keyboard.
아이씨, 아까 하던 거 그대로 해야 된다고?
The main thing. Okay. So it's very important to remember. It's not that I'm bad. Oh wow, it's so weird with the delay. That is, wow, that is really gonna take some getting used to. Okay, unleash. Okay, good.
Okay, good.
I'm like, I almost want to open up settings, like enable like overhead health bars and everything. Cold. Right, I really want to try to get to a vendor. I also want to try to speedrun. Because I think we're, oh no. And I also want to try not to die. Oh wow. Oh wow. Very different feel. Unleash is pretty fast to activate. I'll try to group things up. Okay, we got gear.
야, 지자란이고 나발이고 처음에 뭐 재미랑 템이랑 이게 좀 좋은 게 있어야지 뭐 얘도 날아다니지. 아까 쓰던 거 그대로 주면 안 되지.
Okay, good. Things hit a lot more than what we're used to.
용링크 보여줘. 똥 손주질 않냐나?
Wow, it doesn't actually freeze. Cold, chill, and freeze resistant.
못 잡겠는데 도망친다.
I don't know.
아, 도망치고 있습니다. 아, 도망쳤는데 보스. 여기서 죽을 것 같은데 왠지 지자란.
Okay. I'll try to like spark down the ads first. Freeze things. It's very, very smooth at least. And the skills look amazing. I also have no access to chat or anything, so this is like me speaking as if I had no one watching. It's like the good old days. It's
근데 뭐 딜 위력적으로 막 들어오는 게
It
없어.
feels surreal being here.
자신감 좀
Everyone's so
붙었다.
nice.
가까이
Promise
달라붙는
they're
거
treating me
보니까.
well. Alright, energy gone. Maybe I just arc him down. Am I good just to stand here? Maybe? No? Okay, I'll use unleash. I don't know if I actually need to kill him, but
아, 근데 아까 시연 영상 보고
surely he'll drop something.
그래도 지자란이나 다른
Surely.
POE 잘하는 애들이 하면 좀 다를 거라 생각했는데
Very, very easy DPS.
이거 잼 같은 거 막 안 떨어지게 세팅해 놓은 거 아니야?
And then using unleash. Wait, I'm supposed to have level 9 fireball. Where do I? Control Q. So my control Q is my free fireball to build up mana. Okay, I mean this thing needs to go. Okay, note to self, when making builds, build more mana regen.
지자란 이거 얼마나 하냐? 한 1시간 하냐? 1시간 하면 파밍 해가지고 그래도 다른 거 보여주지 않을까?
I saw I had some support gems.
30분밖에 안 해?
It's done. Like I saw the monk stun someone, but maybe that's physical damage only. Oh no. I mean, he's going down. Here, surely we just arc him down. I'll do the mana storm thing. It's very odd. Oh. Wow, you get stunned a lot more. It's very odd to have the ability to move you backwards. It doesn't always move you backwards either. Okay. Got a lot of armor. Wait, do I have it? Oh, I do have overlay. Oh my god. I wasn't sure. They didn't show an overlay at all. I know they usually don't, but sort of, I had concerns that there was no overlay. I was worried that would just be a
초반이라서 그렇다고 하는데
But we have it.
여러분들
We do
잘
actually have an
생각해보세요.
overlay.
힐록 잡을 때도 이렇게 오래 안 걸려요.
Hello.
많이 떨어졌어. 많이 떨어졌어.
Gear. Okay. Okay. Let's do some Tetris. Ooh, feeding frenzy. I don't need that. Alright, shoes. We have no crafting currency.
나 원래 근데 무기들이 저렇게 인벤 많이 차지했었나? 나 잠깐 지금 헷갈리고 있거든? POE를 안 한 지 오래돼서 이렇게 갑옷이랑 이런 것만 많이 떨어졌지. 무기랑 갑옷만.
I'll hover over everything in case somebody wants to see that. Just so you can clip it. This is beautiful. Alright. Chance to shock. Alright, we'll move on. I actually don't think
저거 완드가 아니라 지팡이 같아.
That. So what's this? Cross. Oh, that's a checkpoint? Okay, let's unleash on Spark.
인벤 확장 같은 거 없어요.
Clear.
근데 인벤은 저거는
Okay. Oh no.
난 상관없어. 저기다 뭐 참으로 채워놔야 되는 것도 아니고.
Oh no.
와, 씨, 몹 진짜 기괴하게 만들었다.
Play it the way you play poe1. You have to be a little bit more careful of pulling, I think. To be fair, I also don't know like how specialized these characters are, and they mentioned that it was pretty overtuned. So surely it'll be easy, right? We're actually playing. It'll be easy, right? All right.
진짜 나도 여기서 똑같이 하는 걸 볼 줄은 몰랐는데.
Not your mouse and keyboard. And it's nice to have something to blame. Not yourself. You never want to blame yourself. That's rule number 1 of gaming. Alright. Wonder if they still have utility flasks. Sacred Encampment, Marsh Crossing.
세계에서 POE를 제일 잘하는 사람 중에 한 명이었는데 지금은 이제 잘한다는 이미지보다 광대 쪽 이미지가 조금 더 세긴 해요.
Very large areas.
약간 개그 캐릭터가 돼버린
like,
느낌.
Doesn't feel super linear to go through. I'm not 100% sure where to go.
못하진 않아. 잘하지 당연히. 근데 이제 광대 느낌이 더 세니까.
Both the Ice Nova and the Comet look pretty alright with it. 오.
이번에 디아포 100레벨 제일 먼저 찍었잖아 그래도.
To be fair, that's so nice. That really feels really impactful and good on the Comet.
아 일부러 그런 게 아니라 지금 상황이 어쩔 수가 없는 것 같아. 정해진 스킬이랑 정해진 템으로 게임해야 되니까.
That we've seen in other games with
쟤도 저거 말고 다른 거 쓰고 싶을 걸?
like that you can choose the element of a skill. So you would have like that it was just Firestorm but cold, but it is actually its own skill. Oh. I mean, things are like slightly different here. This looks like some form of progress.
답답한지 이제 스킵한다. 뭐.
There.
슬슬 이제 몸 안 잡으면서 지나가.
I remember the last time I did this, I kept the overlay up the entire time, and people were very annoyed. They were like, "Why do you have the overlay up?" I feel like most people that actually play games
답답하다는 거죠 이거
I'll try to keep
지금.
it down for more for this one. At
슬슬
very
답답하다는
sweet
거야.
requests from a lot of people.
시간은 딱 30분밖에 없는데.
If I actually
이게 맞아 근데 이게 맞아.
If I actually get time to try the demo when I'm not doing something on stage, I'll get 45 minutes to try. So I am going to try to complete one of the acts. They said it was going to be almost impossible. We do have Tai here too.
그래, 그 얼음 떨구는 거보다 다른 몹들이나 지역 보여주는 게 나아 보인다. 이게 맞아, 이게 맞아.
Surely. Okay, well, vendors. I really want to see what gold does. That's the #1 priority for me.
갑자기 능지 상승함.
The hooded one. Kane?
Kane이래.
Identify items. 4 items identified. Hello? Wait, what? What? Okay. Well, can I vendor things? That's very surprising to me. That's so cool. Okay, we'll sell items first. Do they sell things for gold or transmutes or wisdom scrolls? Oh wow, they're selling for gold. All of them are selling for gold.
씨, 골드를 주네.
This is work. Wait, does this sell for gold? It sells for 1 gold. What about wisdom scrolls? There's no wisdom scrolls? Okay, and I buy things for gold, and I don't buy orbs, and I haven't found any orbs, but I think we saw an orb. Right, do I have an instant life flask? Charge recovery.
무자비 모드가 뭐야?
If I can 3-to-1, 3 blue flasks and actually get an instant one, because I really don't want to die. Let's see, do I have a weapon swap? I do. Is that set up? They showed that really cool thing where it was, okay. I wonder if that's set up.
이벤트 리그에서 저렇게 골드로 했었어?
Interesting.
Use with weapon slot 2. Yeah, it is set up. Okay, awesome. Ask the hooded one about lowering the water level.
From memory.
Okay, and if anyone was hoping to get lore stuff, I'm not the place for from that. I'm gonna be trying to rush through things. See, is that gonna go in control W? It's got 3 charges of frost wall. Wonder if they've done anything crazy to it to make it better than before. Oh, it deals damage.
아 근데 커런시를 버린다는 게 나는 조금 안타까운데?
That's pretty low. Maybe it'll be.
커런시를 버리는 게 맞나?
Okay, here we go. Do we check Oswald?
어떻게 보면 POE의 전부라고 생각하거든 난 커런시가.
Purchase items. More items. There's so many item types. I'm gonna very quickly hover all, because I know people will appreciate that. Reduce fast charges. Life recovery from belt. Nothing like +1 gems or anything. Okay, we'll move on. Jungle depths. Here we go.
건드리면 안 돼 커런시는.
They're very like Aztec-y. Right, I hope I get something else to reserve instead of just Arctic armor. So see, I don't stand still too much. Let's see, do we go top right? Nope. Maybe it'll be bottom left. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh, I'm stuck. I mean, Arc is pretty good for damage, especially because the first enemy you hit takes a lot more. Sparking the middle mouse button. It's pretty good for clearing, and I jump through things pretty fast. Portal scroll, wisdom scroll.
야 얼음 그거 쓰지 말고 아크나 날려.
Okay, I'm trying to freeze things. Okay, unleash and the comment.
오.
I think I
데미지 하나는
this is like mouse
확실하다.
button 1 is arc, which is a bit odd. Let's try frostwall. It doesn't do any damage, right? I don't think so. I don't think.
왜 얼음 벽 깔고 지
they're
스스로 저기
attacking it.
기주를 만들지?
It's like taunting a little bit. Wait, also it looks insane. Health leggings. Now I am not sure how I feel about gold yet. I wonder how that's
나머지
gonna
존나
be used in the
아프다.
end game and
데미지.
stuff. That's the like thing I'm the most skeptical about so far. I don't know about everybody watching at home. That was an interesting one. But I mean, it could be interesting. It could be good. We'll just have to wait and see. A lot of my predictions were wrong. I'm gonna have to like.
UI 너무 구리지 않냐라고 하는 건 POE 원래 안 하시던 분이죠. 그러면 뭐 구리다고 느낄 수도 있어요.
I was way off in timing.
했던 사람들은 별로 구리다고 생각 안 할 걸.
There's so many people here, really nice people.
별로 저런 거 게임하면서 저런 거 신경 안 쓰고.
Already has like so much in common, right? We're all PoE players. Wait, oh no. I think I can animation cancel that.
게임을 논하는데 그런 거를 빼버리면 좀 섭섭하긴 하잖아. UI, 그래픽, 사운드, 뭐 스토리. POE에서는 이런 거 하나도 안 중요하다고 봐요. 근데.
Just a random
전혀 안
bomb. It's a lot of things charging you. Reminds me a little bit of like when the Blackguards would charge you back in the day and the Roas. It's a lot of very like, oh wow, aggressive gameplay. Oh god. There we go. Maybe we do keep trying to go top left. So far the lightning seals feel a little stronger. Oh, spell echo. Oh.
스펠 에코 눈 돌아가는 거 봐, 씨발.
Trying to pick stuff up. I'll just spark things down and then we're gonna.
눈 돌아가서 집으로 가는 거 봐.
Oh, I wonder, can I use unleash and spell echo? That'd be good. Okay. Okay, unleash. They're very tanky. The like yellow. I don't know what they are. Antlions. Honestly, this is really good for clearing. Here, let's look at spell
어디에
echo.
달까?
Can I just throw that in Comet? Wait, okay. How does this work? Am I going at 6 or 4? 1, 2, 3, 4,
오! 오, 이게 스펠 에코지.
I pull up, log in, dude. Okay. Spell echo is sick.
신났다, 신났다. 기분 좋아졌다.
Deep free spell echo. Wow.
기분 좋아지.
Okay, that's good. That was a good random drop. That was not scripted. No, it wasn't actually. They didn't even give me any rules or anything. It's great. They were just like, play, have fun, explore beyond the jungle depths. I mean, jungle outskirts sounds beyond the depths, right? Surely.
스펠 에코 못 먹었으면 어쩔
That
뻔했냐.
I've like done this without a chat or anything. All right, it's just that really felt good. So like, just destroy that location in particular. Great. Honestly, that would be. I hope I find more of those. Like just more spell echo in particular. It really does something weird with Unleash that I like. Follow the canals. Try to bunch up a bunch of monsters. The main thing I'm worried about is getting stunned a lot.
죽을 것 같은데?
Yeah, I
죽을
think
것
I'm
같은데?
getting locked out of the actual
너
animation.
출혈 걸렸어, 블리딩.
I really don't want to die. And I think they did mention that too with
bleeding.
swapping between one. Like, if I do a lightning
Bleeding.
by an ice skill, there's going to be a delay, and I think that's what I'm feeling a little bit too. Maybe I
죽었다,
should
이거
hold
죽었다.
down because I'm tapping W.
죽었다. 이거 죽었다.
I'm not convinced that is the play. I need fast chargers. Oh no.
물약이 안 차져. 빨리 물약 채워야 돼. 살려.
Wonder if they'll have anything that makes
빨리
it
물약 채워야 돼. 물약.
like we could look at the skill tree. They didn't really do that.
물약이 안 차져. 물약이 안 차져. 출혈 걸렸죠?
I'm like running low on potions and getting like.
물약 왜 이렇게 안 차? 근데 진짜?
I could portal out. They do have a well in town. I guess that's what that's for.
몹 꽤 많이 잡은 것 같은데?
Oh my god.
Oh.
Okay, I don't know from that. Okay, wait. They've disabled the skill. No, wait. Really? Surely. Skill panel. Character screen. Oh no, I can't see it. Please. I want the skill tree. Okay, Arc is really good. Okay, I know Comet's really good, but
전투 중에는 물약이 안 찬다고?
that's so smooth to switch. Hello? Oh, it only works on some things. Wait, spell support. I'm surprised it doesn't work on Arc. What if I put it in my inventory first? Is it because I have too many? No, it just won't let me. Right, Ice Nova could be good with it. Definitely don't want it on Frost Bomb.
이거 poe2.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
결국 저기다 박을 거면서.
It's just hard to get the comet off. Okay. Resurrected checkpoint. Yeah, it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard. So I guess because they said they were in Act 3, right? So I guess that's like pretty deep into Act 3 that they were showing off. So I guess it'll take a while to get there. I really wish I could do Spell Echo on Arc. Or Spark. The Spark I had no blue gems. I really tried to show the skill tree, but obviously... Oh, wait. Okay, there. That is very.
근데 얘들 잡을 때 쓸 거면 스페르코가 굳이 필요 없지
I really
않나?
feel like I want more cast speed.
스페르코 없어도 얘들은 잡았을 것
Maybe
같은데.
we try putting it on Ice Nova and use that on my main clearer. Because it does actually do pretty large damage and it is freezing everything. Yeah, see, I didn't even get a skill point for leveling. Honestly, I think this might be the play because everything's pretty hostile.
아 빼. 뭐 노바에다 스페르코를 달아 줘. 잡몹 들이니까 이거 잡는 거지. 조금 때 센놈 나면 어쩌려고.
It's pretty hard to get off the actual comet. It's the main thing. That's the main concern for me right now. For like how I'm choosing my seal spurs. This is just freezing everything. So I see here when I'm like, sometimes it makes me move away, but not
매우
always.
장갑.
Augmentation.
크러쉬 나오는데?
Before is something we should check. See what's changed. Got my 10-minute warning. Okay, so we can still identify on the fly. We don't have enough strength for that. Augments a magic item with a new random property. It's got 2 already. Let's see, do we have any with 1? I don't think we do. We haven't found
그래, 크러쉬가 없어진다는 건 말이 안 돼.
I couldn't buy any currency from the vendors.
근데 크러쉬가 너무 안 떨어진다. 원숭이 공중에서 얼었어. 원숭이가 아니었나?
Quite nice that it like does freeze so often. You basically perma-freeze all the small stuff.
아, 나도 근본주의자인가?
I don't see a canal.
휴징이 없어진 건 좀 아쉬운데?
Oh no. Okay. Arc does so much more damage.
휴징 1500개 업다운으로 그 시즌에 운을 점칠 수 있었는데.
Okay. Oh no, I'm not dying again.
또 죽냐?
I'm not dying again.
밀려있어.
It's like a little bit of a delay on the skills as well. I died twice. And it's not even a hard boss. Like, I haven't even... we haven't even gotten to a hard boss. Oh, that was unideal. Sandswept Marsh, Sunken Cigarette, Jungle Depths. Oh, no. I have to run back. Okay, unideal. But we checked Survey, right? Yeah.
졸라 못하네.
Right, we'll just run through.
야, 진짜 잘하니 게임 잘하네라고. 놀리지 마. 쟤도 지금 이러고 싶지 않을 거야. 잘하네야 쟤 게임.
All the way left. See, it wasn't actually that far if you ran straight through it. So we'll have people like Tai will be running that. I will be doing practice runs. And then we'll try to see if we can finish an entire rank. That would be sick. Alright, we're almost back. I was a little worried they were going to add something like stamina. What was this?
물약이 지금
Oh, that's the actual skills. Wait.
31렙이거든 지금? 목 지역이? 이속 물약이 없다는 게 조금 신기하다 근데.
Wait. Oh my god. Okay. I really hope they'll like... That's what I want. That's what I want. I want to be able to automate it. I didn't see. I maybe should have clicked like right click or something. Wait, did this sun reset? Entirely?
이동기를 없앴다고? 게임 존망하는 소리가 들리는데? 누르기가 있고 이동기가 없다고?
Oh no. I'm getting stun locked. Oh my god.
아, 개 못하네 진짜.
They said I would die a lot, but I was like, sure. But I am. To be fair, I am trying to go very fast too. Maybe I should just like do each pack and actually stay on it. Until they're gone.
아, 잘하는 친구였던.
It's like hard to try to run
과거 영어로 합시다.
in speed running. You actually have to kill a lot more. Let's see, what level is the area? The monster area is the same level as me, so I am where I'm supposed to be. I think it was before too, right? It didn't like scale with me or anything. I don't think so, at least. I don't know. I do like the... Oh, wow. I'm getting sunlocked again. I do like the,
아니, 왜 저거 아이스 노바에다가 스페레코를 달지?
on the Spell Unleash thing. But it's so hard to actually, like... Let's see. What if I just...
차라리 아크에 다는 게 낫지 않을까?
I'm just getting stunned out of it, is what's happening. I'm going to put it back in and try to be a little bit more careful with it. Ice Nova, there.
분산 투자하지 말고 하나에 다 하면 안 돼?
I just gotta, like, freeze things, run away. To be fair, even if I don't use Unleash, yeah.
아 근데 이거 몹
done.
경직이 너무 길어.
Oh wow, oh wow. Oh no.
아 아크에 안 박혀? 이게 몹 경직이 너무 긴 게 스펠 쓰려고 할 때 툭가 맞으면은 취소되는 것 같더라고 아까
I want a higher
보니까.
stun threshold. Oh, because it's not. I don't really understand how the like run back move thing works. Part of the comment. And I am animation canceling way more than I like. You know, sometimes in poe1 you do that too. It's very different. Wow.
물약 없다
I
이제
actually can't
어떡할래?
pull off. Oh wow, oh wow.
Oh wow.
I'm very not in a good spot here. Surely. Oh. Okay, die.
아니 거기 아이스월 날리고 저거 하면 안 되냐?
On the Ice Nova, I think is the play. Especially if you want to run a lot.
벽치고 못 오게 한 다음에 스킬 날리면 안 돼?
When you like.
그러니까 내 말이 그 말이야.
So that's lightning and shock resistant. I kind of want to just ditch that, or just use ice spells for it. Okay, let's see. Oh.
아이스월을 준 이유가 있을 텐데.
Oh. I wonder if there's like a certain part into it that as long as you've got like, that far into the animation, it can't be stunned. So I feel like, oh, I don't get stunned in the last huff. I'm gonna light my 2-minute warning. 5, 4, 5, 4 minutes. All right. See if we can get to the next zone. It's a big zone. I hope everyone watching at home is enjoying. I hope you've all been enjoying watching 엑자일콘.
퀸 행사장에서 쫓겨났다고 왜?
Trying to post a lot of
왜
stuff.
쫓겨났어?
obviously. And yeah, for those that are watching while at 엑자일콘, try to die.
미친 새끼인가? 왜 경비하고 시비가 붙었어?
Oh no. Don't die after having said that. No. There we go.
왜 무슨 일이야? 아니 그거 뭐 사정이 있으니까 싸웠겠지.
There's no way. To be fair, this is my first time going through it. I have not seen this before, and I have no charges left. Arc is insane. Arc is actually so insane. Uses a lot of mana though. I wasn't using mana flask in the start.
어떻게 죽어야 시청자들이 짜증나서 내가 해도 이것보다 잘하게 하면서 접속하게 만들려는 큰 그림일 거라고 했는데 저거 뭐하는 짓이야.
After 25,000 hours of poe1, you kind of get a very good feel for it, I guess. I think the fact that we have Identify All is going to be very well received. It's going to be very crazy seeing people's reactions after.
이게 뭔 말이야, 퀸 매니저가
I
하는
don't get to see
소리가.
anything yet. I don't see what you guys are saying or feeling. There's a 2-minute warning. Let's just run.
신분증 안 가져와가지고 저번에 나 퀸이라고 얘기했는데 안 돼가지고 싸운 거네.
Surely. Oh no. I'm so stuck. Am I gonna bleed out?
피 없는 거.
Jump. Please don't get stuck on that. Please be here. Oh no. Oh no. I'm dead. Okay, we didn't make it to the next zone. That is, I have 1 minute left. I hope everyone enjoyed watching 엑자일콘. I hope you have a good time watching everything. So much cool stuff. Gonna be insane for me as a content creator, doing both poe1 and poe2. But having an absolute blast here at 엑자일콘. I'm looking forward to covering all the content. My name is Isrin. Hope you guys are enjoying 엑자일콘 and try to die less than I do.
누가 촉촉한 것 같은데 약간? 누가 촉촉한 것 같은데 약간? 아 개웃기네 씨발. 저거 지자란 대역 같은 거 아니야? 카게무샤 같은 거? 대역 아니야 대역? 아니 지자라에 저럴 리가 없어. 잠깐만 이러면은 또 언제 하냐? 디자인, 애니메이션, 캐릭터 스킬. 시연은 이제 없는 것 같은데? 1시가 저기 뉴질랜드 시간이라서. 바로 하나?
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our talk today on character skills. I'm Rory Rackham. I'm lead game designer working on player skills for Path of Exile 2. I'm joined by our principal animator, Ed, who's done all of the amazing animations for the player character, and Jonathan, the game director, who you've
마틸 11시라고? 1시간 뒤에?
So, today we're going to talk about all the huge improvements we've got to player skills in Path of Exile.
마틸 잘하면
We're going to
어떡해?
talk about how combat flow is massively improved by animations.
마틸 잘하면 지자라 어떻게
We're
돼?
going to talk about how we've got a new depth of skill variety, doing things we've never done before with skills.
나 같으면 지금 막 연습 미리 할 것 같은데?
Skill and support system, as well as all sorts of fancy new
미리 막
features.
몰래 연습할 듯.
We will start looking at combat flow. So, Path of Exile 1 had a few issues with character animation, mostly stemming from the fact that our rigs were prehistoric, I'd say, a little outdated, and that limited what we could do with animations and limited how well our animators could stretch their.
이거 재미없는 거지 지금 거는.
Would that be accurate, Ed?
소리만 들으세요.
They were borderline unusable.
별로 안 중요한 것
같아요. Quite a few of them actually, we were animating straight onto the joints of the character, which is a very painful process. Some of them had strange little quirks, like Ranger, for instance, her spine would just disappear randomly, and you'd have to go looking for that. And also they were all unique and uniquely named, so there was no ability to share anything between them. So everything we had to do from scratch. And it was
지자라 바보. 이렇게 딜 넣으면 되는데. 대못함.
Can we get a new spellcast animation? It's like, well, it's a horrible, painful process for 7 characters, and then every combination of weapons that the spell could be used with was all of them.
존나 웃기네.
There was a lot of disagreement when a new skill was made.
The slow, dreadful walk towards the animation area.
아 이렇게 막 빵빵 터질 줄 몰랐는데.
In addition, all these animation improvements, well, the lack of animation improvements meant that we were stuck using the same animations for many skills, and that meant almost no motion to them. Your character was standing very still until from the start of the animation until the end of the animation, and any time that meant we had any decent length attack time or cast time on a skill, you would just be sitting there waiting for the skill to finish. There was no real input from the player from the moment they press the button until the moment they've been stunned out of it by a monster hitting them because they couldn't move. So this, we needed a new size form of mobility, and we had also just relied on increasing the speed of skills significantly over time just to get rid of this feeling. Every skill had to be fast because it just didn't feel great without it. Even from very low levels, the player is moving very quickly in a way that's unrealistic for an untrained person washing up on a beach to swing a sword.
슬슬 또 추출해지네.
Here's a close look at one of our fancy new animations. This is the whirling assault skill. It shows some
아유 김구인님.
control their motion as they use the skill.
약간 좀 시들했었는데 지자란이 지금 엑자일콘 다 살려놨어. 지금 엑자일콘 지분 80%는 지자란한테 있어.
So now they have flow, they have natural motion, and they have control that the player.
지자란 그는 신인가?
Do you want to tell us a bit about how we started off?
Yeah, so I've wanted to work on the character animations for a long time. I've been at this company about 8 years, and to me the old character animations always felt a bit clunky, a bit spongy, particularly in early game. They just didn't really feel satisfying to kill things with, and killing should be fun. So
in-game.
In-game, yeah. And so I have a bit of a background with Shaolin martial arts, and I also just have a very strong opinion of what I think looks good. And so with that, I started to work on the just basic attacks of the character, just making sure that even swinging a sword with no audio, no special effects.
저거 일부러 근데 모두 빡세게 한 건가? 아니면은 진짜 딱 저 모양인가? 이게 나 그거 걱정된다.
This meant that I didn't have to worry about doing this for each individual character. I could just focus on each individual weapon and make them feel unique and individual.
Yeah, even outside the animations, it was also a big focus. Even the basic
그래도 시연인데 저렇게 해놓는 게 말이 된다고?
You're doing enough damage to the target to get some punchy hit effects. You've got some cool blood going on that's reacting to the angle and direction of the swing, and now the color of the blood of the monster, which is something we didn't have before when every stone golem was filled with jam. So that, even just starting at the most basic level, right, the very first time you swing the weapon at a monster on the beach should feel like a whole other game, really. Looking at the momentum in the actions, this is where there's been a huge amount of iteration, all sorts of cool tech that we've got to make the character feel mobile, make the character feel like they've got control, and that everything has a physical presence to it. So the basic melee attacks all have a step attack built into them, so if you're up close, you'll just perform the attack normally, but if you're at a distance, while running towards the monster, you will start the attack while continuing on at your movement speed, and
앞에 희생양이 있었잖아.
them, that's when your weapon will strike them. So it has a really strong flow of the motion of your weapon leads directly into the attack, which also gives melee.
나 두루보다 헌트리스가 궁금해. 헌트리스.
The monster is maybe
진짜 대놓고 아마존 느낌 나게 만들었더만.
Start the swing when you've already got your weapon most of the way towards their face. This has just resulted in much smoother melee combat. And for the non-basic melee attacks, we want to also bring in that kind of smooth motion to it. So, do you want to tell us about the step attacks, on how we did that for the regular melee attacks first?
Yeah, so for every standard stationary melee attack, they've all got an additive animation, usually from the waist down, which just adds a little step, depending on how much anticipation the attack has before the contact. Sometimes that's very small, sometimes that can be somewhere around a second. And that's usually custom done to the attack, so it shouldn't be some weird, janky, foot slidey mess. It should flow nicely into the action. And then when we do have animation,
사이온 있을 거야. 없어지는 거 말이 안 돼.
We've also got a different variant of that, which will play depending on whether you've come from a run or if that attack is far away and you just have to move a little bit more to get into range. So we've really gone all out on trying to keep your character moving, keep them alive.
Yeah, we discovered it was very important with the step attacks that the step has to be additive because your whole body goes into the swing when you're doing a proper melee swing. You can't just lock off the hips and just be moving your upper body to do the swinging. So it all flows so much more efficiently. Yeah.
Any idea, Ed, how many animations it requires to just do a single simple attack? Like how many different animations experience there?
Well, there's a little bit coming up with how many animations there are, but there's most basic attacks will have 2 different steps. Excuse me. So with some of the shorter ranged anticipations, we were getting some foot flicker when you were coming out of a run. So we had to do steps that started with the left foot forward and steps that started with the right foot forward. And then we also have different animations, of course, if you're holding a sword and a shield, or a sword and a sword, or a sword and a scepter. And so, yeah.
It explodes.
It explodes.
Yeah, totally.
I've been busy. Another thing that we've done for attacks is that we have a system that we've internally called pushy mode, very catchy name, where objects that have size, usually you can walk up to them and you and the zombie can't move past each other, but now if you're bigger than the zombie's bigger than you, or you're doing an attack that has some motion to it, you'll have bonus pushiness. You can move that monster with you with the attack or slide it to the side, depending on the skill. And very large monsters can just push straight through swarms of enemies to reach you. And conversely, when you say turn into a giant bear, you can now just wander through monsters as they're pushed to the side. They don't really... Being a bear does have an advantage of size in more ways than one. And that also just makes combat feel like we can block the player off, because now they have options to push through if they haven't got too surrounded or they're not fighting anything too large. We also have much more control during the actions. There's a window at the start of every attack, and sometimes throughout an entire attack, where you can just shift your direction, meaning if you start a very long attack, you can realize you've made a huge tactical blunder and switch to which direction you're attacking entirely. The longer the attack, the more you can turn around during it. It makes it great for following a target as well. Previously, if you start an attack and the monster just steps slightly to the side, then you're just watching as you perform a big swing at nothing. Now you have full control of it. And we've also changed the area where you can cancel on attacks, so you can break out early or you can break out afterwards just by walking or performing another skill that could interrupt it. And that just lets us increase the attack time on it. Some skills, so desire. Not every skill is going to be a super slow thing. The idea is that you've got the option now, but it's much more advantageous and less of a mistake to press a long attack time button if you time it wrong. You can always change your mind at the last minute. That also leads into dodge roll can cancel out of any action, making it great for a slow attacker, where no matter how big an attack you've got going on, if you realize the monster is a boss or a monster is about to squish you, you can just roll out of there. As Jonathan mentioned during the keynote, you can have immunity to attacks and many projectiles right at the start of the dodge roll. So, as you can see in this example here, the player is just perfectly timing their dodges so that they're missing every single attack from the enemy. You can't cancel the dodge roll itself, so the biggest disadvantage of it is that once you've started it, you can't be attacking until you've finished the roll. It's really the one downside of it, because the dodge roll also has massive mobility. You can switch your direction mid-dodge roll. It doesn't matter which way you're facing when you press the button. Just switch and change your mind if you realize, maybe I want to go in an opposite direction. And it is not faster than running. It might look faster than running. It is more stylish than running. And it is hard sometimes to stop yourself just rolling everywhere. It's technically a defensive advantage, just in case there was some monster that you hadn't seen coming at you. You never know. My advice is roll everywhere all the time.
Just to clarify that, it isn't that it's not faster at some points in the animation, it's faster at the start and then slower at the end.
Yes, yes.
So that means that the overall average speed is the same as your run, but you get faster and then slower.
And it does scale with your move speed as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So the faster your character's move speed, the slightly shorter the dodge and slightly further it will take you. So it evens out, and it makes the animation still feel natural. It doesn't get crazy fast until your character gets ridiculously fast.
Right. I'd just like to draw attention on that last slide, by the way, to the fact the character was rolling between the monster's legs.
보스가 진짜 말도 안 되는 애만 아니면은
As you can see from his poor dead character here. Do you want to tell us about some of the blending between that?
한 시간 남았을 때 유산소나 하러 갔다 올 걸 그랬나?
So I took a different approach to a lot of the attacks and how they were animated. In the past,
몸이 왜 이렇게 찌뿌둥하나?
characters idle, and every attack would start and finish in that same idle. To try and get the combat to keep moving, I just kind of did away with that. And if you saw with the basic attack before, there was more of a left-right continuous motion with it. And as you can see here, this guy just keeps rolling with the slams. What I found while I was doing that was a lot of attacks had common points that they would move through.
수사치 날아오는 건 누가 쏘는 거야?
Came I guess you could call them like sub-idols in which to start and end attacks in. And totally intentionally, it flowed together very nicely. Wasn't a surprise at all. But yeah, I don't know. We've also got blending for when attacks don't have those similar starting and end points. So if you do have an attack that finishes over here and the next one starts down here, there'll be a slight blend to try and smooth that transition. And yeah, it just helps keep the character feeling alive, energetic.
근데 너무 막 쓸데없는 모션들이 많아진 것 같지 왜?
Stops in combat. Like combat, you don't really tend to stop and change what you're doing. It should keep flowing.
연속 공격 이런 게 화려하긴 한데 유저들이 원하는 건 저런 게 아닐 거란 말이지.
Speed variation on animations.
This is another thing. So in order to keep things pretty, with the longer animations that we have, when you start to speed them up to ridiculous speeds, as happens in this game, if you've got a lot of detail in an action, that detail starts to get really messy. And so a way to combat that was we came up with speed variations. So certain speed brackets, the animation of the attack would change to a slightly shorter version, which better suits that speed. And every attack has around 4. Some of them more or less, depending on how speed affects them.
Which when Jonathan was asking about the number of animations, just all that previous number, just multiply it by 4.
Yeah, that adds to the number of steps and variations that I've been doing.
Basically means it's very hard for your character to feel like they're being played in fast forward. It all feels like natural combat. That's what you're going through.
But it's also only so effective. At a certain point, you're just going to turn into a human blender again.
Yeah, like I say. But can you make it look good when I'm attacking 15 times a second, please?
I'll do my natural. Yeah, I'll do what I can with those 3 frames.
So we also have a lot more of the skills effects and a lot of the skills actual damage patterns and impacts coming from the animation itself. So we have these beautiful animations and the effects are tied into them directly. Our effects artists have made some amazing trails that just add so much to the swings that they perfectly match the motion of the swing. And the timing is all animation controlled and tweaked in the animation. You can see in the example here they've tweaked the curve of the swing to match the motion of the attack perfectly, and all the audio events and the position of all the damage is just right there, and we can match it perfectly where the position of the weapon is at that point in time. And it just makes it all feel so much smoother. You don't notice it, and that's when you know it's working correctly, because everything feels like it's right on point. It means also we've got so many more spellcasting animations, so much variety in the spellcasting, and that's just the kind of thing where you see the frost going up the character's hands, leading up to the point where they perform the spellcast, and it feels really cool. You'll notice that a lot of the animations we have are very bespoke, very unique to the weapon type. Early on when we were working on skills and working on animations for them, we realized we couldn't make a whirling assault that would also just feel right with a spear without it being basically a different skill just crammed into the same gem. So we have decided that every weapon type, every skill gem for that weapon type is restricted to that specific weapon. And this gives every weapon a really strong identity. You feel like a monk when you're using a quarterstaff, even if you're somehow a marauder who's got a huge amount of dexterity and intelligence.
Yeah, you can dance around as a marauder, which is spectacular.
And this also just lets us have mechanics that are specific to each weapon type. Like, for example, maces are amazing at breaking armor, and then when you want to mix and match those mechanics, it works really well, because you have these sort of unique mechanics that come from the skills. You have these unique forms of movement, where every weapon moves differently, and it just results in it playing differently. It feels like a different weapon type can feel like a completely different class, which is especially cool when you can combine them together. So let's jump off from there and talk about skill variety. So, Path of Exile 1 has a few issues that we wanted to focus on changing up for Path of Exile 2. The main one comes from the fact that you feel that every skill is, you can only really have one truly powerful skill that your character is invested in, and everything else is supplementary. It's very hard to have two skills that work together because of the nature of various systems, which we'll get into in a second. This means that every skill needs to be pretty good at doing just about everything. You can't have something with a single job. And it means that situational skills, like for example a skill that has a very long attack time, they have very little place in the game. And this is caused mostly by the socket system, where you will
아니
usually
뭐
only have
게임하고
one fully
PoE 아는
supported skill, like
사람들이면은
for
그렇게
example,
프리패스가 될 텐데
one that isn't supported. And you might have two if you're lucky, but
가드는
even then,
모르지
if you have
어떻게
extra
알아.
sockets, you're usually better off.
근데 그거를 뭐 관계자나 담당자한테 연락을 해가지고 좀 기다렸으면 됐을 텐데 왜 가드랑 그걸 싸우고 앉았어.
The specialization options the character has through gear and passives also just lean further into this, where you are better off putting all of your power into the specific combination of mechanics that one of your primary skills uses than it is to spread it over a few skills to give you more options in combat.
계속 직업이 계속
As
나와.
already mentioned, it was already needing to be built. The skill needs to be built so it can do just about everything, so you don't really have any situational skills in the first place. This really hampered skill design because we can't have any particularly slow skills. We can't
가게
have
이름이
a
감자탕
skill
뼈다귀
that
해장국 맛좀바란데
only useful for damaging a large number of monsters and has very little use if there's a single enemy. And we end up balancing the skills around the support gems and assuming that you've got a bunch of powerful damaging supports. We ended up having supports mostly exist as a way to boost your damage directly, which is cool, but there are plenty of other mechanics in the game that also boost your damage, so we don't need to use the support gem system for that. It also meant that mana had to be sort of averaged out based on attack and cast time, because you can't have a skill arbitrarily be something you can only use a little bit because of its mana cost, because it's going to be your damaging skill. And you're probably used to using all of your available mana, all of your available sockets, all of that on buffs that will just permanently affect your character, and once you turn them on, you won't think about them again until you die and revive and realize you haven't turned them on. This respawn. We thought about ways we could approach forcing the player to use a variety of
상호명이
skills
놀랍게 진짜
and
맞춤 바라.
decided that we completely wanted to avoid cooldowns being the way that we force you to rotate through skills. We don't want to have skills with a long cooldown without a reason that feels very appropriate for the skill. And we also didn't want to add skills that would generate mana or generate a resource for you as their primary purpose, just so you can use other skills that you otherwise couldn't spend. That would be able to force you into using a combination of skills, but you would spend half your time doing almost no damage, and then all of your rest of your time doing a huge amount of damage, and you'll feel bad when you finally have to go back to your little bit of damage skill again, just so you can get some more mana to keep having fun. We also really wanted to avoid putting the character in a rotation. We don't want it to ever be the case where you're like, okay, it's a boss, I'll just go 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and repeat until the boss is dead. So the focus is on every skill being situational or setting up a situation in a not entirely reliable way. We have all sorts of mechanics that help us achieve these goals. The new skill system, the support changes, the dual specialization, spirit system, and more. First, let's talk about the new skill system, which was announced at the first 엑자일콘, but we've kind of perfected it over the past few years. The character now starts with 9 sockets, so right from level 1, if you happen to carry over a bunch of gems or get really lucky and finding some uncut gems, you can fill your character with skills and be doing all sorts of things. They have their own sockets, and what this means is you start with 2 support sockets, so if you happen to find a support gem early on, you can just put it in and start using it right away. But as you progress, you will find currency that will... First you'll find common currency that will upgrade it from 2 to 3 sockets, and you'll probably find a few of those before you find the currency that will upgrade a skill gem from 3 to 4 sockets. This means that your skills, large numbers of your skills will grow as you progress, rather than just you focus all of your currency and all of your investment on maximizing a single skill. It is naturally
아침겸 점심은
plays, you'll get
뼈다구 회장국
more options for
인데
your
뼈 없는
skills.
무뼈.
And this usually means that we have, well, this also meant that we had to change how we think about socket colors as well. We really wanted you to stick with your skill gem. Once you find the gem that you want to keep using, you're not replacing that with another version that you find with more sockets, as the currency is going to be the thing letting you upgrade that. And so we did this, a similar thing with changing socket colors. If you find a blue support gem that you want to use, and you want to make the socket blue, it is a deterministic use
회장국이란 건 처음 들어보는데?
to change one of your sockets to that color, so you know that you're not going to roll the dice with your one remaining chromatic orb to try and get a socket color that you don't have, and just find that you can't use any of the support gems you were using before as well as the new one.
There's actually, just to extend on that thought, like there's a lot of situations in poe1 where you just kind of like you can brick your character by just like making the bad choice with regard to rerolling. So you effectively don't want to use the rerolling stuff on your items that are important, otherwise you might screw yourself up. And we wanted to avoid all that to make sure that, like, yeah, if you want to just change a single color, like now chromatic is just, yeah, use it on the socket you want, pick the color you want it to be. So makes it so you don't have those kinds of problems anymore. It just sort of allows it to allow you to do that sort of customization without that issue.
Yeah. There will probably be some late game mechanics where you can roll the dice and risk everything.
There are some late game things that you can, if you want to brick your items.
빨리 시연이나 했으면 좋겠다.
Orbs and things.
But during the campaign, you don't need to worry about your skill gems. Right. They're safe, and you can feel invested in them.
Right.
Support gems, we've really focused on taking them away from being damage boosts and put them more about customizing the skill. There's a lot of opportunity for you to just choose how you use the skill. And a very important design principle for this was saying that you should not want to use the same support on every one of your skills. Even if you're using all slams, there shouldn't be a support that's like, well, this is a must-have for every slam skill. It should be that you're thinking about, well, this skill I'm going to use in the thick of combat, so I'm going to put the unbreakable support on it, so I'm much harder to stun out of while I'm doing the skill. While this skill here, Sunder, I'm going to use from safety, I'm going to use it from a distance. I'm going to snipe monsters with my Sunder, so I'm going to just focus on something that will give me a damage boost very occasionally. We have plenty of old favorites coming back, like the fork support that you can see, but they come at a cost that means that they're unlikely to be considered an absolute necessity for the skill to be as useful as we want it to be at the mid and early parts of the game. Things like Fist of War returns, so every now and then you get a big damage boost to your skill, but it is also, the cooldown is shared between your other skills, so you want to pick carefully which skill you're going to put Fist of War on. And we also have a number of mechanics, like for example the armor break mechanic that maces specialize in. There are support gems to let you put that on other skills, nowhere near as efficiently as the skills that focus entirely on applying armor break, but there's a way to build the combination of skills you want to use together if the skills that inherently come with those mechanics aren't the ones that you want to be using then and there. There's also the dual specialization system, which was shown off during the keynote, where you can have effectively multiple trees that are slightly different from each other for multiple builds. And this has a huge number of uses, both for combining multiple elements, combining different weapons, which is great for the mechanics that are specific to each weapon type, as well as just deciding that you want to be extra tanky in your second spec, deciding that you want to focus your second specialization on the area of effect so that you can do something different with your main specialization. And it does have the cost of needing to find two great weapons to take full advantage of it. But when you do get the two weapons that work well together, it can provide a huge amount of customization to your character. This also connects to reservation effects, where you can have a reservation effect enabled in one set and a different one in a second. So for example, I could have Cast on Shock, triggering my area of effect skills in my first set, and just do Spark to clear enemies, and then switch to my second set, and I could be having Cast on Crit there, and having a high crit spell that is then proccing my single target focused arc skill, and so I can be swapping back and forth based on the situation, or I can bind one of those skills to a specific situation so it automatically swaps back and forth. There is a small time taken to switch. There's a nice little animation if you're just grabbing the weapon off your back. You have to be tactical about how you use it, but it's small enough that in the thick of combat it's absolutely still very useful to just switch out just based on the situation that you're in that very moment.
I think the reservation thing you were saying before is really worth emphasizing. Is like the whole, having the ability, for example, to have Arctic armor on one versus the other. Like you'll just switch it instantly, that will be on. Like there's no like having to worry about it or having to recast or anything like that. Like you can just switch effectively all the reservation skills from one set to the other, just as you weapon swap automatically based on what skills you're using. So it is pretty powerful.
And the reservation will remain on when you die as well. You need to remember to turn them back on again.
Useful bonus.
Especially when you have to, so you can there's a little menu where you can select which weapon set you want them to be in, including shapeshifting. Shapeshifting is its own set in that, so you can say, when I'm a bear, I want Arctic armor to be even tankier. Leading into that, Spirit. So Spirit is a new resource which is used for every permanent effect that you're just going to leave on your character the whole time. You no longer reserve your mana outside of probably some specialized mechanics or keystones or supports, and instead you're focusing on gaining as much Spirit as you can if you are wanting to stack permanent effects. So minion characters really care about Spirit.
아싸, 나 드롭스 받았다.
Minions are paid with Spirit, while their temporary minions are still paid with mana and need to be resummoned. This means as a minion character, you want to get as much Spirit as you can to have as large an army, but maybe use some of that Spirit for an aura as well. It's a sort of a balancing act and finding the combinations of minions you want.
디아블로는
which might mean
디아블로.
switching out which minions you have, or how many minions you have of each. We've added the ability to just manually unsummon your minions if you want to bring some others in, just to make everything a bit more convenient. And